Oh, rest in pieces. Oh, man. So, it's been a fucking wild ride. We have gone through the gamut. Particularly, you guys. You guys have gone through the gamut here. You've seen a lot of really kind of strange, disgusting events that have pushed you guys to your limits. So, I kind of wanted to talk about that. I wanted to not immediately jump into the events that transpired last time, and I kind of wanted to break down a bit of the history of this group and how it transpired, how we've come across this. Like, let the people know, I guess, a synopsis of events and how we've come to be this ragtag group known as the Flurry. So can you guys actually recall the first few players of the group and what you guys were actually playing?
There was Jimmy.
Fucking Jimmy.
God rest his soul.
I'm just glad that he was the first one to come out.
God rest his soul. He
He
was
my second most
Finding
favorite
meat trees in
character.
heaven.
Would you like to explain his class and race and basically everything about him?
He was an abyssal summoner. He was human, and he had a syndrome which caused him to be brittle boned and also 10 feet tall as a human.
I think it's called Marfan, right?
Marfan syndrome.
Yeah.
Syndrome. He also had, like, when he moved his eyes too quickly, the gels wouldn't follow quite right. But that's just a syndrome. But I don't talk about it. I'm not going to get into it. Anyways, he would try whatever he could do to be more and more powerful, and that meant planting the 30 chunks of meat that he just carried around with him, because he was a butcher, and he tried planting them to see if something would grow one day.
Yeah.
That's mostly confusing. How did you How did this come to be? Like, where did you get this meat out of sheer curiosity?
Just FYI, your follow-on notifications hidden behind the shirt.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was a butcher Jimmy was a butcher, rather, and he'd give them what they paid for, and then the rest he would take, and that's how he kept himself afloat. He didn't have to buy food if he could just take what was left over from work. And these morsels that he'd come across, he would plant them, and then hopefully something would grow from them. And something did, but Bub doesn't want to talk about it.
You see, I hear that, and in the back of my mind, I'm going, man, that's a really good cover for a serial killer. You know,
Yeah,
I'm just planting meat trees.
Good character.
I'm just planting meat trees. Yeah, that this can only go over so well.
He pled insanity, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. What else made up the group? I mean, he stuck out like a sore thumb, but you guys, it was like the whole group stuck out.
Yeah,
There was Panda's character.
Yeah.
that was who was that? It wasn't Alec here.
Niall.
Niles.
Niles?
That was, yeah.
Was it Niles?
Something.
I feel like it
Or
was
was that the
Niles.
Barbarian?
I don't
No, I'm
remember.
pretty sure it was
I
Niles.
think it was Niles.
I think it was Niles. Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah, because
right.
he was tough as nails.
Right.
He was a really
I forgot
Tough
about that
as
shitty
Niles.
joke. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah. Yeah,
That's
there was
right.
Niles, the what was he, a halfling?
Yeah,
I think-
halfling rogue.
He was a halfling rogue.
Who ended up, I don't remember much about the character. I do remember how he died, which was drowning in paralyzing honey.
Yeah, the neurotoxic honey.
Yeah. He
Yeah,
also
that
got
was.
a ball stuck to them at one point.
That's right.
Yeah,
No, that was Jimmy.
That was
Oh.
Jimmy.
That was
Okay,
Jimmy.
no, Niles had his entire, was it his back stuck to it? We had to like peel him completely off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me it was my whole front.
It was his front, yeah.
He had to peel me off the ground.
And you
as well.
guys were making good work of removing his body from.
It was,
From
we
this
used
until
a
you got
dagger,
to-
didn't we?
from shoulders to
Yeah.
waist, and then
Yeah.
and time for the rest of it.
I just remember he's like, all right, I'm gonna slowly remove this. Basically, just like chip away until we can remove your sack from the stone. And it was about the time that he critically failed and stabbed you in the ass cheek.
Yep.
That's the real legend of Sir Arthur. It's who could draw the balls off the stone.
Little did I know, because neurotoxins. it had paralyzed my sense of feel. So all of a sudden he's just like, uh-oh. And I'm just like, wait, what? I don't feel anything. Did you stab yourself or something?
That's right. You don't say uh-oh.
That's my nuts.
But eventually you guys made it out of the neurotoxic honey that was adhesing your body to various things.
Let us not forget that we also had Rook with us.
Rook was a key player. He
was
had
our
some
cleric.
tough decisions,
That
yeah.
was
Yeah.
Connor's character, right?
Yes.
Yes, he was a cleric, I believe, right?
The one and the only, the man who would go on to glitter the world.
Yeah, he got his spells replaced with glitter spells at one point, and glittered a little girl in the face instead of healing her.
Yeah. Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Why did she need healing?
Because
Because any second character,
yeah,
Griffin, not Griffith, Griffin,
Griffin
Yeah.
had ran to the orphanage and had started jumping on the bed, and she was still in the bed.
This was after being struck by a chromosome in the middle of the street.
That's where that joke came to be, by the way.
Yeah, so he ran, of course, as people missing chromosome or having extra chromosomes do, he ran to the nearest orphanage and jumped on a child repeatedly.
Okay, so the story was they were having nightmares. And so we went to go there to solve what the nightmares were all about. And me being the struck chromosomed child that I was, I decided I wanted to jump on the bed. And unbeknownst to me, I don't know how, I guess I didn't check the beds before I went in there. And I started jumping on the bed and it wasn't empty.
No. We all know how it happened. He was describing the room, he described the beds, and then he was like, oh, he jumps on the bed. And before Bub can say there's people in the beds.
Bub made me roll like a 50% chance that I didn't want. And I was like, why? Am I going to break through the bed or something? And he's like, no. I was like,
Oh
"Okay."
no. Oh no.
Close.
No, he just broke through her spine. No big deal.
I was just trying to play hopscotch in someone's chest cavity. Psychos and Borderlands. I
She
get it
ended
now.
up in a wheelchair, and then that's when the glittering happened.
Actually I'm going to share this in the Twitch chat for anybody that wants to. It's a GIF of the moment that I'm explaining him being struck by the chromosome. Yeah, just mouth agape, head turning, just yeah.
Like mid-sentence, just going on, and it's just out.
That was so long
It
ago.
was so long
It was
ago.
a lifetime ago. Sniper was just a viewer back then.
Yeah.
I remember seeing
He
that
wasn't
episode.
everyone's creepy uncle. Yet.
So,
Yeah.
if you want to know how to get viewers on your stream, guys, just start a campaign where you get neurotoxic honey on you and get glued to a floor, and then your nutsack ripped, and you stick around forever.
It's true.
And it took me a while to recall the name, but I played a
You're a ranger.
You're a
Rango.
ranger.
it wasn't Rango.
It wasn't
Rango was
Rango.
in the Sunless Citadel.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
right.
was Cromwell.
Yes.
Yes.
Cromwell.
It
Well,
took
it was-
me a while to come up with that. I was like, it was turning, and
Yeah.
I couldn't figure it out, but it's Cromwell.
was like-
was
like,
my,
I
my
remember
ranger
that-
character.
Only because you were kind of going with this pseudo German theme.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, it's Cromwell!
Yes, Pyro. I
Little-
remember you, buddy.
Little did I know, after Cromwell died, Klaus would be the only name I ever am known by from here forward.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's true though. And we also, let's see. Sakata was his very first character.
Yes.
So that was Niles, Cromwell, Jimmy, Sakata, and Rook.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was our party.
And then
That's how we started.
that particular group that ran 15 sessions. How did that whole dungeon end?
We saw it was a cellar dweller, no, a corpse dweller. It was a little girl with a voodoo doll, very creepy. And then the dead were raised out of their graves.
Their graves, right?
Yeah. We fought them. Most of us died.
There's
And
also
then-
a giant undead.
It
I should
was-
put
yeah,
that in
it was-
there.
Me and Jimmy were the only ones who lived. Jimmy went down into a tomb, made a deal with Adamarcus, the god himself, and then went upstairs and revived Rook at the cost of his own life.
So,
And then-
so The
I
story
don't know if
that
you guys
happened
remember
here-
that, but that giant that you guys fought that was chained to the wall, that was
You cut out. That was who?
that was the giant that I made for them in the room when you were asking for ideas. The one that was chained to the wall and like cut in half, and he was like flailing at them back and forth.
Well, that was a different dungeon. That was after.
Wait a minute. Was that a different dungeon? Was that the same dungeon?
I don't think
I
it was
just
No,
remember-
that was the
That was
same
in
one,
the
yeah.
next
Because
one.
shortly after, that's when you guys got caught.
You keep
I
cutting.
just
You keep
remember
cutting out,
about
man.
that one session.
Yeah, Ronald, do me a favor. I'm gonna send you a screenshot over Discord and change the setting and see if it'll help your cutting out issue.
Hold on. Is that better? Or does it just like go dead out of nowhere?
It just goes dead.
I think it has to do with your input sensitivity.
Hold on. Let me check it then.
Yeah.
I will
I'll
say this
move
much,
that.
though, as just kind of an anecdote. I do know that session, the gifts I went ahead and gave the party
Mhm.
became super important, particularly to Sakata,
All right, is that a little better?
Yes, I stayed alive because of it.
I'll let you know if you cut out again.
and
All
became
right,
a loan shark.
Yeah, I at that point I had flown above the ground if I remember correctly, and then when it cut out, I landed on my scythe as it stuck through my back and was just kind of my front fin. I became the land shark, formerly known as Sakata. But we ended up getting out. So the only ones who got out of the dungeon were me and Rook. And when we got out, we had found out that the world had basically aged 10 years while we were in there.
We were in there for about a week,
Yeah, it felt like a
10
week,
days
but it
or
was,
something like that.
but it was like 10 years when we came out. When we came out, we were like, hey, we're here for this bounty that we need to collect on. They say, that bounty was 10 years ago. We can't give you anything. And so I pointed to one of the farmhands and I said, can you give me that? Can we take that guy? And he goes, zap, zap. And I was
Yep.
like, cool, come on, shithead, let's go.
That's right. His
That's how it
payment.
seemed to be.
His payment was a child. He said, "I can't have money. I'll take the next best thing. Give me your shittiest child."
Your angstiest,
I'd be your
most
shitty
angry
teen,
child.
and I will melt him into an adventurer.
Bring me teenagers with attitude. And thus the Power Ranger Klaus showing me.
Yeah, basically.
Snarkiest child, and I shall make a hero of him.
He's
And
all okay,
4 or
Zordon.
5 body swaps leader.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no joke.
If you
He
ship
has
him
reached
from
his pinnacle form in the body of artist.
you can make him work, and the money will go back to you, or something along the lines.
So
Such a slave
Cauldron,
driver.
Cauldron changed in the 10 years that you were gone, Sakata.
Yeah.
Klaus, at that point, I mean, when you went in, Klaus was like maybe 4 or 5 years old at best. You came out the other side, and now you're like this really shitty caretaker. Pretty much wanted to fight him every chance you got. Oh
Yeah.
man, that was
We were at odds a lot.
a lot. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that was a really
Oh,
wild
but
time.
little did he know that he was about someone that was going to drive him.
You cut out again, by the way.
If you're on
think
push to
it's 'cause
talk,
it's-
just hold
No,
your
no.
finger down.
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's because I'm hitting the headset the wrong way. But yeah, I was saying, little did Sakata know that he was going to meet someone that was going to drive him up the wall pretty soon.
Oh my god, that's true.
Well, before that happened, we found on the road back to Cauldron with me, Rook, and Klaus, we had found Alakir,
Yep.
a alchemic bard,
Mhm.
Tiefling.
Yeah, let's not forget that
Yeah.
part.
Let's
He
not
was-
forget that.
and he had joined us because we were like, "Hey, do you want a group? You look a little lonely. You're tiefling. Nothing goes well. Do you just
He was
You wanna
holding up
hang
a
with
sign that said LFG.
basically
More or less.
LFG level 1 bard, please."
Pretty much.
And then when we were camping that night, we had found Innie's second character for the first time, in the form of him doing his people's dance against a tree.
Mhm.
Doing the dance of my people.
Yes. Yeah, it was a little wild.
So,
It was-
We all remember the
noticed,
gif.
I noticed that they were watching and playing some music, and I was like, oh, might as well. Instead of just trying to hide anymore, I'll show them what I got. And,
Yeah, so
I did the dance of my people against the tree, and the tree wasn't very happy. It was a
And
meat
then-
tree, though, I promise.
in a in a similar fashion to like the X Factor, all of us had like a giant X button, and none of us hit it. So we were like, you know what, you can join us. And then
There's
he
actually
said,
a golden button,
yeah.
and Red just slammed his face into it.
It wasn't the
And
button that he
after-
hit. It was just Griffin's face. He repeatedly slammed. That was the most interesting character I think has ever graced the screen of Shackled City, and I say that earnestly because he's like,
For his backstory.
I'm a good character. I mean well. Well,
But
what's
I
your
murdered.
backstory like? Well, you know, my parents were really shitty. No, they didn't die. They didn't have the typical story. They were slave owners. They were slave owners, right? And they made me one of their slaves. Like, oh, that's really awful. But I got back at them. What do you mean? I killed all of my friends.
I killed all
Every
of the slaves
single
that they-
one of them.
And then walked away.
The only people
Nice.
that ever cared for me.
To be fair, he was too dumb not to know that wouldn't get back at his parents.
No, he didn't.
Into 6 with that character, so I can't vouch
He
too
was
much for that.
too dumb
I
to
rolled
realize that he was a bad person. Therefore, in his
he
own
made
eyes,
himself
was a
Batman.
good person.
Yeah, he was innocent in his heart, and that's what mattered.
He made himself Batman. He was like, I'll kill everyone around, then I'll be a
Yeah,
superhero.
his hands were bloody, but he used it to paint the walls, like finger
Many
paint.
comparison was made to Lenny from Of Mice and Men.
Yeah, yeah.
He was very
In
similar.
my mind was I was like, oh, I murdered all of my friends, and then they're like, yeah, sure, come along with us.
Yeah.
Let's kill the slaves,
Oh,
George.
perfect.
Kill the slaves.
It wasn't much longer than that we lost Rook, also known as Connor. Connor had to leave. He said he was on a journey to discover his life. I actually talked to him about a month ago, and he declared that he was living in a hostel, and he was about to climb a mountain with little to no gear. He may have died. I haven't heard from him since.
Dude is living his best life.
Like last week, he
Give him
sent
that.
me a promotional feature for some band in Canada. He's like, "Hey man, I'm selling tickets if you need them." It's like, well,
What band is it though?
I don't remember. It
I'll
was
give
some
you a-
shitty.
I'll give you a real rundown.
some
of the
some
band.
random group called Chips and Dip or some shit like that.
Oh no, it's
Yeah,
Fish and
like-
Chips,
like-
but yeah, I know they are.
I got all their albums. It's actually they're on vinyl. Really,
Right.
really good band.
Yeah,
Good
they
lord.
only produce on vinyl.
But he
But,
left, and we
Give me
had...
like 2 seconds.
That's fine. We had another local join us by the name of Dan, Dancing Dan 42. Dan had a pretty profound impact on
Oh, yeah.
the community. He brought forth this charisma, this energy, like an undeniable energy. Given it from time to time, it was all about Dan, but he really meant well, and Dan was a great addition. He taught me a lot in regards to what it meant to host or to host someone that was that much of an actor, that much of a diva, if you will. And there are still I don't even know where they're at right now, but there are still gifts of Dan around because he wasn't afraid to act things out. You know, like if he explains something and you're like, I don't quite get what you mean, you could say, you know, act it out, show me what you mean, and he would just do it. You know, he wasn't afraid to just hop up and start like fucking
Like man humping.
air humping a table, like
There you
that was him, like that was Theodwin, yeah, and that he had his own little fan group. I wish Dan would stream. He would do so well for himself if he just focused and streamed, and I think he would be very successful.
Well, right now he's too busy flying planes for the Air Force, so
Yeah, there is
I think
that.
he's doing okay.
Yeah, I think he's doing all right too. So that's that's cool, and I'm really happy for him. Theodwin was a lot to handle, but Theodwin his first.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Theodwin was his very
Theodwin was
first
his
character.
first.
He did have the summoner,
The summoner.
the
That was,
summoner. Oh my god,
Was it
Elgin Pugh.
Elgin Pugh.
Yeah.
Which was
The one,
basically
the one who kept referring to all of us as kid.
Well, I mean, he was really old. We'll give him that.
he was basically Ron Perlman
Yeah.
with a giant flaming
he was-
Hellcat.
He's like a mixture between Ron Perlman and Vin Diesel from The Last Witch Hunter.
It's so true, though. It's so true. He was nuts. It was absolutely nuts to kind of deal with his character. But Theoden was the shit. He was the first evil character.
Oh yeah.
He shot me in the chest when I didn't have my armor on.
So you remember how Klaus and Sakata had all those arguments like way back when?
Yeah.
Well, when Theoden came around, that whole dynamic shifted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
to
it was-
hating him.
Yeah, it was definitely Sakata versus Theoden for most of the time they were together.
They had a mutual hatred towards
Yeah.
each other.
Thank you. Yeah, it
Best
was.
dude so far.
It was a little nuts. I mean, there were a number of times that we lost. Theoden
I cut
lost
his
his.
leg off.
You took off his leg, dude. Like you just straight
Lopped it right off.
fucking removed it from his body. Yeah.
Just like, wait, he's breaking in?
I mean,
Called
it
shot.
wasn't-
Everything
yeah.
to go ahead and miss.
Yeah.
Now
It
you
wasn't
almost-
Killed
to-
him.
it
You almost
wasn't
killed
to
him a
hit
total
him.
of 6 times.
The fucking
Yeah,
the crazy thing was, it wasn't like you wanted to kill him. You were trying to set the scene and call a bluff.
yeah, because he was breaking into something. He was breaking into the bathhouse. And I had to make it look like we weren't just breaking into his bathhouse, even though we said not to. And
That's
then he
right.
started breaking into it, and then the owner came around the corner, and I had to make it look like, hey, I just caught a thief. So I yelled at him, and I chopped his leg off.
You cut it. It wasn't just like. It wasn't a very slow and painful hack. No, it was one fell swoop.
Well, that's what science are for.
I mean,
Chopping off legs. It's
yeah.
fine. It's ain't nothing but a thing.
I mean, realistically, scythes are for chopping down fields of wheat, but
I mean, it's same height, it works.
Well,
You just beat his dog,
elves,
it's pretty
we...
close.
Same height, he says.
Well, okay.
there's
Okay.
no explaining
Yeah.
this one away.
No.
No, yeah, he just cut his leg off.
Oh, yeah. I remember this episode very well.
The thing was, he got me back by the end of it because we were in the bathhouse enjoying our rest, and I had no armor on, and he shot me in the middle of the chest.
That's right.
He just he waited till we were all in the bathhouse.
Yeah.
And he took his bow and was just like, you know that scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail where the prince is shooting the arrow out the window
Yeah.
to call for help? Yeah, it's like that. He just
Yeah, just, oh, by the way, pa!
Yeah.
That's for cutting my leg off.
It was pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Yes, what's going on, man? Enon, how's it going? You enjoyed it as well? I've really loved this campaign so far, and I've had a great deal of time to get to know it personally. And it's incredible. And these guys are more incredible for it. You know what I mean? So welcome in, everybody. If you've just joined in, we're kind of recapping, and we're celebrating 100 episodes. We've had 100 episodes of this particular game of the Shackled City, and we're kind of recapping, sort of. So you guys remember your first job as a group when you came back out of Adam Marcus's home in that alternate plane of existence, if you will.
As we shambled on out.
Yeah, chapter 1 was called Life's Bizarre.
Yeah,
Life's Bizarre.
I could agree.
Not as in the adjective
Bazar.
bizarre. It's bazar. Yes, bizarre as in location, place. A place where you might find merchants, sellers, things of that nature. But Life's Bizarre. This was regarding one particular event. People were going missing from Cauldron.
Yeah, small children.
Yeah. How did that work out for you guys?
Well, we had to. When we first got the cauldron, we had we went to the tip tankard. We had a good drink. Then we needed a job, so we found a job. We heard in town that there are rumors of missing children, which is why we were going to the orphanage when Griffith got hit by the chromosome.
yeah.
So after what happened with Rook and the glitter and the small girl in the wheelchair and all that had passed, we had asked see if there was any kind of.
She wasn't in a wheelchair before. She had to be in a wheelchair after. Because she was permanently maimed, and then in order to heal it, you guys fired glitter at her.
See that? No, that's what I'm saying. She was.
Hey, that was not us guys. That was Chad inflicting something on Rook, who otherwise would have healed her.
He tried. He had good intentions until the glitter popped out.
Oh my god,
And then
that picture is circling around the internet somewhere. I don't know where it is, But that
Oh, I
little
know
girl
what you-
covered
yeah.
in glitter. Oh, it's too good. It's too good. But yeah, you guys were told to kind of figure out
Find the missing kid.
what's happening to all the missing children. Where were they missing from?
Well, Cauldron.
No shit, Sherlock.
When did you guys encounter Sniper's first character, his cleric?
Fareed. That was
After
in that
this.
dungeon.
After
Yeah,
this.
okay. This was when we were searching for the children.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
We had God, who?
It wasn't
was kids
actually
missing-
wasn't
Kids
actually
missing
that
from the
long.
orphanage.
Yeah, it was still during chapter 1 is the interesting thing. Because chapter 1 is
Yeah.
fucking huge.
Well, because also that first dungeon that we did was all you're doing.
Yeah, those first
Yeah.
16 episodes
Yeah.
weren't part of the actual Shackled City campaign.
Yes.
Yeah, I like what you said. Is this the episode where we find out it's all a dream and we just start all over?
Jesus Christ.
And they wake up
And-
and then they start their real journey.
Sakata, you wake up and you find yourself on a horse to a coffee farm. What do you do?
Pass it by.
Just pass it by.
Just keep on walking. Get out of Cauldron.
Yeah, definitely. You guys, you were there to investigate. You went to the Fleet Street Orphanage. You were speaking to a halfling, a very old halfling at that. She had informed you that there were children that were going missing. More than just children, there were people going missing in the town. Old people even, like 30, like all the way up to like multiple 100-year-olds. Sondor Ironfold. Female dwarf, age 127, wife of Lorthan Ironfold. They disappeared 35 nights prior, that kind of thing. There was a lot of information there that you guys could have gathered, but that's okay. You eventually solved the problem. But it wasn't long after this that you had found a very particular cleric. It
We
wasn't
had a-
long after you got your job to
Well, it
discover
was-
what happened to the people that you met someone in an alley. Long-term friend of the Flurry. Name starts with R.
Look, can we just like strike him from the record?
You cannot strike
His name is redacted. All right. Let's just...
negative. Rufus Lareau. Rufus Lareau, long-term friend of you guys at this point. You saved him
He was the
from
one
getting his ass beat.
He liked to sponsor all of our events following that. All of our excursions and our misdoings in the city. He was behind us 24/7.
I mean, if you guys recall, like, the moment that you saved him, you were accosted by the local town guard. And
yeah, Tercion doesn't like us because of it.
Yeah, and they were like, what the fuck are you guys doing out this late? And he was like, no, it's fine. It's fine. They just saved me from getting my shithole kicked in by the alley bashers.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, oh, well, good thing they were around and we weren't around to do our jobs, Kappa.
Yeah, and then it was either me or Klaus who said, well, maybe if you guys were around to actually do your jobs, we wouldn't have to be out or something along some snappy kind of.
I'm pretty sure that was Sakata. Like, I'm gonna put money on it because that makes sense.
It wouldn't be too far off.
Eventually, you guys were taken back to the church. What was that church?
St.
Cuthbert.
Cuthbert's.
Yeah, who did you meet?
Jenya.
Yeah, Jenya.
Yeah.
At the
Yeah.
time, she was not leading the church. She was second in command. Do we remember the name of the person?
It was the guy we went to the Lucky Monkey Inn to find.
Do you remember his name?
It was said last session too.
It was.
Yeah. Hold on, I need the notes.
It starts with a T, doesn't it?
Oh, you might want to check that picture in chat.
I really hope it's not porn.
Sarsum
It's not.
Delashar.
That's right. Oh my god, yeah, his name was Sarsum Delisharn, that's right.
Yeah.
It's not really porn. Not for
Okay,
me.
that's not a good qualifier.
I don't know what Sniper looks at.
That was the little girl that got destroyed that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Would
was
you-
the picture we used.
Wait, why is it posted so many times?
Why not?
Spam.
Can we
Fucking
ban
spam.
any?
It's indie. I mean, come on.
Such a weird picture.
It is. It's a very strange picture. Let's see. This is also the time that you guys had met a particular... as you met Rufus, it's also the time that you guys had met a very particular individual who was watching you from the shadows. She worked for The Last Laugh.
She was the lady who was dressed in a robe who pulled me away, right?
Yes. You still don't have her name.
Nope.
80 episodes later, you still don't have her name.
And through I think she's interacted with every one of my characters at multiple different times.
So you guys didn't really have many leads, but you found out that some of the locks were tampered with, and it seems as if they weren't broken, but someone had gone in through owning a key. This is where you met a very important individual in the series.
Keegan
Michael
Gelb,
Key.
the Keebler elf.
Keegan Gelb. That's right.
Michael Key.
No, it's Keegan Gelb. He worked for Gelb's Locks. He was a master locksmith. He's been in the town, in the city, for a long time. Nobody really knows how long. He's just one of the people that have been here, just seems like forever. You guys accused
Way
Keegan...
too long, if you ask me.
You guys accused Keegan of being in cahoots with whomever was working here, and that really wasn't that far off, if you recall.
Yeah, it's because they took his shitty little rat that he was working
Whoa,
for.
whoa, whoa, whoa! Shitty little
Starbrow
rat,
is
excuse
not
me?
a shitty little rat.
Yeah, what is wrong with you? That's like saying like Hodor was a useless character in Game of Thrones.
I mean,
Like,
he didn't even hold the door, so I mean...
He did hold the door! Eat a dick!
He did go down.
Austin's really good at just like pushing people's buttons.
He is!
If anyone hasn't noticed yet.
He is, in fact. Inevitably, finding out that he was being coerced out of force because he lost his familiar Starbrow to a particular Darkstalker that went where? It was the name of a fort directly
Jizadrun.
beneath Jizadrun. That's right. This place was fucking fierce.
It was Theoden's.
Despite its name, it was terrifying.
It was
Yeah,
fierce.
it led into Theoden's cave.
Yeah, I was about to say, it led into Theoden's cave.
isn't it
Yes.
Drekdar's way? I thought it was.
No.
No, it's Theoden's cave.
Jizadrun led to Drakthar's way.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Now that I think
you are
about
correct.
Yeah, which is called Theoden's cave to us. Because he owns it.
By us, you mean Dread.
You guys went through,
Hell.
like, forever. I think it was over 60 rooms.
There were literally
that's
palm
bad.
trees and snow in the same room.
Yeah.
It was
No, that was
crazy.
2 different rooms side by side.
Yeah.
Oh right, yeah, it was. Yeah, they were just next to each other.
Wait, that was.
Inevitably-
Oh, that's when I. That's like. I showed
No,
up
that
my-
was
Oh, no,
was
this was before.
actually Red. You're thinking beneath the.
the bathhouse.
Yeah, you're jumping ahead again.
The
Yes.
Clockwork Citadel.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well, no, the
Inevitably-
Clockwork Citadel was part of that, wasn't it?
Because I was
You had
with
to go
you
back
guys.
down there.
I was with
No,
you
that
guys
was a
by
different
then.
area.
Oh.
Clockwork Citadel is connected,
The first time,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was.
but
Yeah.
But
Inevitably,
then when we came back, it was those bats.
yes. Inevitably,
Yeah.
it took you guys through Jizadrun to find a very particular, strong, very strong evildoer. At this point, Innie had suffered another death in game, and he had just got a brand new character that was discovered in a chest under a crafting table.
Yep, he was
He
all
was-
locked up.
He was being
Yeah.
tortured in a chest under a crafting table, and he wanted to exact his revenge. So he traveled
And
with you
he-
guys for all of 3 rooms before you met the boss, the big boss.
3 rooms included the room I was in and the room the boss was in. So
Yes.
I basically walked down a hallway
Yep.
and then in the next room.
Yeah. Do you remember
this
the
was in
boss?
Malachi, was it?
No.
I'm
This-
sorry,
It was the half orc. It was the one who made Sniper his ass slave.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
Come on, guys. I know you remember this.
I had it earlier because I was thinking of that when we were thinking of characters.
Anybody
I
can chime in. Anybody can chime
I
in
had
with
moved
this.
by then, so I don't remember the character. I don't remember a lot of this portion of the game.
I'm just trying to remember what's because
Starts with a K.
Colonel Sanders.
Half dwarf, half
half
troll,
dwarf, half orc. Oh,
half
troll,
dwarf,
yeah.
half troll.
Casmogen.
Kazmogen.
Yes.
Yes.
He was Kazmogen's ass slave. That's what it was.
Kazmogen.
Yeah.
Thanks, Red.
Kazmogen
It's good to know that's what you want to lead off with.
was a half dwarf,
Well.
half troll, who had a howler dog, a howler as his pet, actually.
And when we killed it, he was very angry.
He was pissed. He was fucking pissed.
so pissed that he picked up. I believe it was Jaspis was the name, right? For
Yes,
this. Yeah, literally picked him up and then threw him out of a window.
into the Underdark.
Yeah, just real casual, like.
He died. He died that day.
Yeah, he did.
He's all, hey, fuck off. Chucked him.
He fucking...
It's just like, Casmogen, I've come in to wreak my revenge. Ah!
Pretty much, man. Yeah.
Casmogen was beating on one of my teammates, so I was like, hey, dumbass, look over here.
Yeah, and then
he just charged me through a window.
You guys kill his dog, he's all, they took my dog, and they just he fucking throws him out.
You, just out of curiosity, does anybody remember the name of the dog?
No. Not at all.
It was a howler dog. It had a very obvious name.
Was it Rex?
No.
Was it dog?
No.
What are we asking about?
What was the name
You remember Casmogen's dog?
of Casmogen's howler dog?
I forgot he even had a dog, to be completely honest with you. The thing I remember most about that fight was any being straight up edge-speared out a window.
Yeah.
Being written off on a TV show.
Basically, it was the 4 on a beta.
He was in fact, he was picked up, he was thrown out. The name of his dog was Prickles. Prickles the howler dog. Howler dogs are covered in these long spikes that they can launch from their bodies. Like, they're intense like ivory. And they can just, like, freely whip them out and stick them into your skin.
Like porcupine dogs, essentially?
Kind of, yeah. I actually think that's what you guys called them. Porcupine dogs. What's up, Montrevat? What's going on, buddy? We're doing a bit of a recap of the events that we've gone through, just to kind of mark our trials up to this point. And some things have certainly gone down.
Yeah, he wants to capitalize how little progress we've made in 100 episodes.
I was pretty sure that was our only death that fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then we went on to loot his stash, and we found Sniper and another one of Innie's characters tied up, being used for sexual favors.
It was more than that. It was more than just finding a person and some things. Something else major happened post-fight.
Oh yeah, the Beholder popped out and said something along the lines of like, "Yeah, these kids are ours, bro." GTFO, LMAO.
I just want this one kid. You guys can have the
Yeah,
rest.
it was one kid out of the bunch that they had plans for.
And then it took it teleported away, and I don't think we've seen it since.
We haven't heard from it in 100 episodes.
We are
not
doing great on that front.
Yeah.
Took it, not the kid's name. Little boy, little girl. Just know it was an it.
Yeah,
you didn't know the kid's name.
You did. You did know the kid's name.
We did. I have long since forgotten.
I don't remember the kid's name.
It was Terram. Terram. Terrem. Terram. Terram was taken, yes, and he is still yet to turn up. There have been no bodies, no nothing. Which inevitably, you guys found your way back after recovering Farid. Jaspis became who? What was your next character, Horam?
It was the one with Jimmy the Camel.
What was it?
Vantis, that's right.
Vantis and Farid. Sakata and
Vantis.
Klaus. And Theodwin.
Vantis. Fucking Vantis, that's right. Chapter 2. Drakthar's Way. My personal favorite.
I think an important note here is we went back and Sakata did become very good friends with Griffin.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And with some other casual drinkers, and tried to even set up. Oh God, who was? I tried setting up with that really big beefy dude.
I can't remember, but I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name. He was
it started with an H.
He was the biggest. Oh, was it like Husk or something like that?
Yes, Harsk, I think.
I can't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
Big beefy dude.
Yeah. And you were trying to set up like Vantis with him. Definitely trying to set up Innie's character with him.
Unbeknownst to me. Like, it was when my back was turned. They leaned over and they were like, "Hey, he really wants you, but
hey man, he sent you a drink from across the bar, man."
Yeah, he wants you to rail him.
Red brings over a drink and he's like, "Hey, this guy over here sent you a drink. He wants you to pound him." And I'm sitting over there and Red.
Yeah, just talking casually.
Like, hey, how's it going?
You look over, I'm like, "Hey man, yeah," just patting the guy on the back.
Yeah,
great.
that was dirty. That was super dirty. This was a good opportunity for you guys to get to meet a couple of the bigger players in the city.
Yeah.
Drakthar's Way led to the introduction at least a further introduction to Tercion Skellerang, who has been equal parts ally and enemy to the Flurry.
He really likes us, and then he really, really
Well,
hates
he really likes what you intend to do, but he really hates what ends up as the result.
Yeah.
You know, we're here to be hero. You know, we're here to be heroes and save the day.
He doesn't
Body
hate
count
yeah.
behind them.
He doesn't hate the idea of heroes. He just hates the flurry of bros.
Only because you kill everything,
It's true, though.
including the people you're trying to save.
Typically, I'm not on Tercion's side. In this case, I will admit he's got a point.
Yeah, he's not been too bad of a guy. He's just been like, come on, guys, stop sucking dick and
Please.
finish the job. Like, if you're gonna kill someone, clean it up. Don't just leave it for us. And he's not wrong. You know, he's not wrong. You guys have left a body count pretty much everywhere you go, and the local guard have had to deal with it. But inevitably, you took a part in your next job. We
We went down to the Sunless Citadel.
Well, the
No.
next job was to investigate a goblin outbreak.
Yeah, there was a goblin outbreak. Nobody really knew what was going on, but they were breaking out during the day, and they were like destroying things, writing graffiti on walls.
Penises.
Yeah, they were. They like literally. There was one. Snurk smells like dung. Drakthar has bat ears.
Weren't there a lot of? I remember there being a prolific amount of penis graffiti.
Yeah. One of them,
Oh, that's
you guys
all you
recall,
pay
like, it was such...
Goblin just really like dicks, man.
Yeah, it was, they literally wrote, "Who builds town in volcano, ? Stupid humans."
I remember that one.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I mean,
Good
they have
stuff.
a point with that one.
Yeah, I can't really deny that.
This
I mean,
inevitably,
it worked for Pompeii.
this
kind of.
inevitably brought you guys back to a very particular location. At this time, the group consisted of Sakata, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it was Sakata and Klaus. We had Farid, Vantis. Theodwin wasn't with us this time.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was.
Because remember, he tried to go off and kill someone.
He was.
He tried to go
Because
off on a
he was-
fucking arrow shooting spree and popping
That's
off rounds on
And
rooftops.
we
That's
also
what
had,
Drakthars is.
I believe, a half orc with us.
We've only had
Malgrim?
Malgrim was a hobgoblin,
Yeah.
and we've only had a 5-man crew. We've never been longer than that.
Dan was there because it was Theodwin's cave.
Yeah,
Was
This
it?
was
he was.
yes,
Yeah,
He was
because
on the
immediately
rooftops.
following Drakthar is because Sakata died.
Yeah, we were running a 6-man crew at that time.
Yes, we were. And
Were we?
Kemia stepped in.
Yeah.
Yes, we were.
Mhm.
You remember?
Kemia stepped in and was like, "Oh, hey, whose place is this?" And
Oh.
Theodwin, yeah, this is my cave.
Okay, all right,
remember
yeah.
the cart full of flaming bodies that got pushed into the fish shack?
Yes.
Yeah, that happened. So yeah, we didn't mention that before we went down there. Dan broke up a whore ring and became its pimp. Well, no, he transferred ownership.
Yes.
Yeah.
From
Yes.
oh my god, what was it? Was Courtney transferred to Leslie.
Yes.
Mhm.
She was a thirsty hooker, and she wanted to run this very particular ring of ladies of the night, but she couldn't move up the chain, courtesy of the older woman in charge. And Dan, well, as Theodwin, needed information, so he arranged the murder of Courtney so Leslie could come into power, and he could have basically forever information on the guards and on other various things, courtesy of setting Leslie in power. I do recall
Yeah,
that.
and of
now.
course he decides to go ahead and kill Courtney in the middle of the tavern.
Yep, and then
Well,
puts the
I mean, not really the middle so much as on the staircase.
yeah, and then he puts the body on a cart. The cart gets kicked, and as it's flying down towards the center of town, which the center of town is a giant lake, because
Yeah.
volcano basin.
Yeah, poor Farid. He's, just like leading this cart along, and all of a sudden,
It catches on fire because Theodwin decides, this is going too slow.
Yeah.
So he shoots it with the fire arrow, lights the corpses on fire as it's barreling through the city,
Yeah.
and lands in the center of town.
Everybody knows if you put flames on.
yeah,
the vehicle,
Farid
it
ended
goes
up having to
faster.
aim that at a fish shack, and it got catapulted into the middle of Crater Lake.
Basically, no one saw what happened.
Yeah.
Not a single soul.
Yeah,
Not no one.
and poor Skellerang, man, he's just like, Why am I getting reports of flying bodies? Burning bodies? What the fuck?
What's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? Inevitably, it took you guys to a particular location. A location that you guys were very familiar with, and still remain familiar with, the bathhouse.
Tankard. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and that's where Malgrim introduced.
No. I followed you guys, and I met you guys back at the Tankard. And that's when we ended up fighting that fucking sewer monster for a little bit, and then just realizing that it was probably just there purposely. And then we went to the bathhouse.
We stumbled upon a shit monster, and then we're like, hey, we should get rid of this thing, and then we realize it's just cleaning up the shit because nothing else will.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're like, okay, we'll just put the sewer grate back on and leave.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys had to head down into after some discovery. You found that there was an open passage that was actually in the bottom of the bathhouse.
Yep.
But it was hidden by something?
Yeah, an illusion wall.
Yeah, there you go. There was an illusory wall that was preventing you guys from seeing immediately that there was a crack in the wall that things were escaping through. These goblins were coming in and out of the bathhouse every night. And Auric Stonehaven was none the wiser.
Yes.
None the wiser.
Yeah,
Auric Stonehaven, the dwarven owner, who well.
Yeah, he didn't know we were down there for the second time.
No.
Because the first time is when he caught us, and that's when I chopped off Dan's leg. And that went well.
Well, the first time I went there, there was a very slight
kind of difference.
A minor altercation.
Yeah,
minor
very small
altercation, my
went
ass. You slammed the help's head.
I went to go in for a fucking handshake, and she fucking slapped my hand away, and I was like, "Nah, bro, we don't roll like that around here."
It was basically like, "Hey, how do you what?" Slammed her.
Malgrim wanted that juice. Malgrim wanted.
I'm pretty sure he looked at his hand for a couple of seconds and then just slowly looked
Didn't
back.
you insult her? Isn't that why she slapped your hand away?
I'm pretty sure he did. In some
No.
fashion.
I
mean, just by looking at her, it's kind of an insult.
Right.
He was a hobgoblin, and then he reached towards her body, and she got scared and slapped his hand away.
Like I went in for a handshake, like, oh, like sorry, and then she slapped my hand away. So I was like, nah, fuck that. And then I slammed her head into the into the counter,
pedestal.
Into the podium. You just basically like RKO'd her out of nowhere, and you thought that everything was just going to be fine. No one was going to say anything.
Like, my God, the mayhem.
Yeah, things went a little wild there. You had to explain to Auric what had happened. She had stitches. You did it again eventually.
Yeah, but that wasn't until after we went back when I had gotten bit.
That doesn't make it okay.
We're skipping
ahead. But I'm just saying.
We're skipping ahead a little bit. So let's go ahead and we went down. We went ahead and investigated.
That's right.
Killed plenty of goblins, and then while moving through, we ran into a familiar face.
A familiar face.
Yeah, we ended up fighting a black dragon and getting through. Poor Fareed at this point thought he was...
No, that wasn't a black dragon, it was a void dragon.
Void dragon,
yeah,
that's correct.
Poor Fareed thought he was super blessed by his goddess because he had wild magic and had turned into a glowing goat at some point.
Oh, that shit. You died because of me, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. Who'd he run across? Horam? Who'd we end up running into?
Nobody.
Yeah, that was my fault. My bad, Sniper.
Go ahead, Sniper.
No, after the void dragon, we ended up running into this coffin.
Yeah.
While this coffin, we found out that Kazbajin was actually
still alive.
Alive and kicking.
Not only alive, but somewhat enthralled.
Yeah, so we killed him again.
Yeah, it was not that easy.
Yeah, and
No,
while
no.
all this was going on,
I like to imagine it was that easy.
Yeah, and at this point, this is when I first found out that chat can really fuck us over because somebody decided to pay for boulders to be put in,
Mm-hmm.
and
and poor Fareed,
everyone dies.
poor Fareed found out, oh yeah, having your head crushed by a boulder isn't something you walk away from.
Okay,
Wait, how did it happen? There was an area of zero gravity that
Yeah,
he was caught in. I
were
kicked
under
off the rock, and then he was under the rock. He got healed. He looked up, and as soon as he looked up, the boulder left the field. It dropped on him. Yeah.
He wasn't just healed. He had become a temporary villain. If you guys recall,
that's right.
The item that he had made him wasn't quite a lich, but he was
undead.
Yeah, he became an undead, and he was going to fight you guys.
Yeah, he took all of his damage, dropped. The petal fell off of Innie's new torch. Brought him back to life
in the same round.
He looked up, and because of Ronald jumping off of this rock, it backed off from him because it was 0G. And Sniper was just on the edge of the 0G field as the rock fell out of the 0G and crushed him into a pancake. And then if I remember correctly, didn't you get inflated after that? Or something like that?
His body was inflated, so it was like a balloon down, and it was just staying there. I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was.
But no, yeah, and that's when I got to introduce a new character while you guys were trying to take care of the vampire.
Nero, right? Who died in the same round.
No,
yeah,
it was
shortest
It was Enro.
character.
It was
Enro, sorry.
Enro,
the shortest lived character.
Enro died within, what was it, like an hour and a half?
No, it was the round he was introduced.
Was it the same? Was it the same round?
Yeah, the same round he was introduced. He died.
We were fighting Drakthar, and Drakthar revealed his thrall, who was a missing person known by the name of Enro. He was a recent adventurer who was a spell sword. And he came out, he was kind of brain dead. Sakata jumped down from the area where he was and cut him in half in one turn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then was immediately followed by Drakthar.
No, Kazmogen.
Kazmogen jumping off the same ledge that I jumped off of and crushing me in a drop attack.
Only one person walked away from that fight.
No, two.
Yeah.
It was
two. Malcolm got away.
Yeah.
Malcolm got away to ride the bullworm.
During that fight,
Klaus that never died.
Drakthar ended up biting my shoulder, and I ended up getting infected with vampirism. So after Kazmogen slammed me off the top of the podium, everyone thought I was dead, and then I ended up coming back.
So yeah, actually, technically 3 people survived because it was Klaus and Theodwin. Theodwin actually got the final hit on the boss.
That's right.
I was running around the rock, literally like Scooby-Doo style.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid. Yeah.
I was casting spells out of a spellbook because I was completely out of spell slots. Like I had used all of my spells for the day.
Right.
So I was ripping pages out of a spellbook and just casting anything I could at him. Edwin sniped him as he knocked me out.
And when Kazmogen jumped off of his ledge and landed feet first on Sakata, his blade was what I caught, and it cut me in half, and that's how I died.
That's right.
So Red didn't actually die from the sword. The sword was aimed at me, and it was the feet that landed on Sakata that killed him.
Yeah, no, he was two-handing an axe and straight up like Asylum Demon dropped onto you.
It basically Noxian guillotined me, but from a ledge.
It was pretty intense all the way around. Immediately following, you guys walked out, or at least those of you who had survived, and you met a group of half-orc mercenaries and a particular person that was leading this half-orc band by the name of Zodin.
Yeah, he was the Zodiac killer.
No, he was not, actually.
Actually, at this point, didn't they meet Rasasi? The fighter?
Not yet.
Not yet. No, this was like literally...
Also, Rasasi was not the fighter, it was Kimia.
It was Kimia.
Was the fighter.
Kimia?
By the way, you're muted, Austin, if you didn't know.
It was Kimia.
We walked out of the cave and immediately met Horam. Then we walked up to the...
No, what happened? Kimia walked in. Because Kimia was also down there because he had...
Right.
So Kimia had a Jason Bourne-esque thing where if he heard a code word and was given an assignment, he would black out and would just complete the order and wake up somewhere where he wouldn't know. He always assumed it was, oh man, I got really hammered, or man, I just
Yeah.
was in a fight. I don't know. I just woke up and he walked around, and he happened to find the group right after they had killed the foe. And I walked up and said, "Hey, whose cave is this?" And Theoduin goes, "Yeah, this is mine." I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
I was unconscious at the
there's
time,
a
so I
very,
had no
like-
way to protest.
You guys completely like just glared like a glaring thing here that you just missed. This half-orc mercenary band and its dwarven leader
Yeah,
was someone that came into play later,
it was
as
Oric's brother.
Oric's brother.
The leader of it.
Yeah.
and nobody like even batted an eye at the fact that he was running a band of mercenaries, and his brother, like, nobody even like questioned him about it. Because you did
We
find
didn't
out.
know. No, when we first met him, we didn't know we didn't know it was his brother.
No, we didn't know at that
We
time.
ended up-
But
we-
like,
we ended up stopping him, and then before the killing blow, I ended up stopping, and like he was like, "Nope, that's it, surrender."
That's right, but you did find out that his name was Zodin Stonehaven.
Did we? I don't remember. I don't remember.
we
us
found out
knowing
his name.
from-
We found out his name. I just had complete. I spaced his
Nobody
name because
caught
we
it.
had very little interaction with him.
Nobody caught it.
Okay.
Nobody caught it. Inevitably, you guys were able to discover the goblin threat. You eradicated Drakthar. You had met your new party members. And then we bounded into Chapter 3, which I think, up to this point, was the shortest chapter.
I think you did miss how we. What ended up happening was we walked out of the cave. We met Horam.
Horam, who was
Horam
traveling
in his-
to Cauldron.
He was still angelically white, wearing white plate armor with gold trimming.
And
found
singing
him.
the praises of
Yeah.
Seren Ray.
I was like, fuck evil, fuck evil. Fuck
Yeah, and
evil. As I
he was
walked up this
actually
hill.
a paladin who was against
Yeah.
evil things.
And
And
then
then,
they walk out of this cave.
we went
beside
back
me,
to
they're
the
like, hey, you
city.
want to come with us?
And at the
Yeah.
city gates, we had found Nero with
Nero.
posters saying, "Have you guys seen my brother Enro?"
That's right.
And Theoduin says, "Look,
Sakata
man,
just dick move.
No,
essentially-
Theoduin.
No, that was Theoduin.
It was
Theoduin
Theoduin.
walked up and said,
Yeah,
"Look,
your sister's dead.
yeah."
That's right.
Fucking Theoduin.
Yeah, your sister died. And then just walked away immediately.
Theoduin didn't live much longer than that, interestingly
Nope.
enough.
Because shortly after that, we started getting our bearings.
It was
We-
more like you guys, not much longer. It was going into Chapter 3, the Flood Season. Flood
Yeah.
Season had the introduction of a lot of really interesting people. You guys...
Well, before
had-
that, Malgrim did die before the flood season started.
No, he
No,
he didn't.
no. Malgrim died at the Lucky Monkey, which is where we're leading to.
Yes.
Malgrim didn't die at the Lucky Monkey.
No, he died. with
Malgrim
the,
died in the bathhouse
Yeah.
with
He
the
died to
Stonehaven
me.
brothers.
He died to me.
Yeah.
But
And that was
moving on.
much later. Like, he didn't die
Yeah,
until
that
much
was
later.
well after the Lucky Monkey situation.
Yeah, stay with the storyline.
Well,
guys.
this is where he can track vampirism.
I already had it.
He got it from Drakthar from Chapter 2.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. He got it from Drakthar, and then
You guys started hearing about a rogue group of individuals that were going around trying to gain reputation in the town by the name of the Stormcloaks. This was the first discovery of these people.
Yeah.
But you guys
And they
just
were-
kind of blew it off because you were like, whatever, let other adventurers do the job. It don't mean shit to me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where
That's it.
you were
Yeah.
asked by a particular person to find out what had happened to Sarsum.
Jenya was the one
Yeah.
who asked, right?
She came
Yeah.
to you immediately. She said, friends, I'm in dire need of heroes. My church lead, the clerical lead of basically like the father of this particular church, Sarsum Delisharn, is missing, and she had received a vision, and she wrote down everything that she could immediately. In this vision, it said, at Lucky Monkey, have 8 wands. Tavern's been attacked, bandits led by barbaric ape man, mortally wounded, retreated to basement, they know we're here, send assistance. You guys had also received at this point a task of retrieving the 8 wands of water control for the flood season. Someone had informed you that it's been a long time since anyone has suffered the flood, but they think that this year is going to be particularly nasty. Shit went downhill quick.
yeah, it did.
It was more than just going and rescuing a couple of wands. You guys discovered an entire location hidden inside of the volcano beneath Crater Lake. But Crater Lake is more than just a pond of water in the middle of this volcano. It's home to one of the nastiest creatures you guys have come across yet.
The Cthulhu Plus.
And it's something that you still haven't dealt with.
Yeah, well,
One
we
of
closed
many
for now.
things.
It's not an issue now.
You think?
I mean, it's not cutting people in half like it was.
Well, staying back on the storyline, we were sent to the Lunky Monkey to go ahead and rescue Sharsham Dalasharn, and that's when we were, starting to get introduced to the fact that the vampirism was really acting up on
Malgrim. Yeah.
But
we had an awesome moment where we went full on A-team,
Yes.
attacking the bandits that were.
Oh
Tongue
yeah,
Eater.
we cleared out a
Taking
whole
over the Lucky-
fucking tavern
It was
with
Tongue
like
Eater, right?
no
And-
sound.
And here's the funny part. While Theodwin was just like walking up the hall, just like, all right, let's go finish this up. He ends up
Swoosh.
getting his head eaten off by
That's
the
right.
Monkey Man.
Yep. Tongue Eater literally bit his head. But that's because he declared, like, Tongue Eater leaps in front of him, and the first thing he wants to do is draw his bow and fire at him. Like,
Yeah,
are you
and
sure
then,
you want to do that? He's like, fuck yeah, I'm
And
fucking
he
Theodwin.
wasn't having none of that.
And the barbarian ape man, the barbarian lycanthrope, had completely just tore his head clean off of his
He was
body.
also a totem barbarian, right? Because he had the ability to magical energy.
He had a lot. He was
He was buff.
he was not quite like the boss of this chapter, but if he was on common level today, he would certainly provide more than a problem to each of you.
But luckily, we were able to beat his shit in.
Down.
After,
You were the one who dealt the final blows, Kimia, right?
Yeah, my going back to the whole blacking out, not knowing what I do. My assignment before we left, I was given a file, and I was told my code word, which was cage right, and my file was to basically my entire reason for being there was, regardless of the wands, I couldn't have given a shit. I just had to kill Tongue Eater.
Yep.
That was my one incentive.
His
for being
goal
there.
was to eliminate Tongue Eater.
And so like I was super focused on that, and then once we killed him, I returned back to normal, if I remember correctly.
You guys actually just found out a bit more about Tongue Eater. Recently,
He's
like within
part-
the last 2 sessions.
He was part of
like
the
the
last
fact
lap,
that he
wasn't
was
he?
working with the Last Laugh.
More than that, this is primarily for Sakata. Sakata, you just bought a mask.
Yeah, because I bought the baboon mask.
Yeah. What was that about?
Yeah.
Anybody remember about the baboon mask?
Oh, that was the one on
it was
Theodwin's
a-
face,
it was
right?
No.
It was a baboon god. It was a demon, baboon demon, which would rally squads of baboons or something like that, right?
It was a demonic force by the name of the Demogorgon.
Yes.
Oh shit, that's right.
2-headed
Damn.
ape demon.
Yeah.
That's fucking right.
But now I have a mask.
That's right. And you had found out, or at least you had some ideas implicating that one of the earnest followers of the Demogorgon was probably Tongue Eater, because not everybody can become particularly this.
Yeah, and there were baboons surrounding the entire place. But after we had killed Tongue Eater,
After we killed Tongue Eater, we went down to the basement, rescued a
Drow,
drow, found one of the wands.
Yep.
found Sarsham Delisharm.
Dead.
Dead.
Not really alive anymore. So we were right on time.
He was slightly less than alive.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
And then betrayal occurred.
Betrayal occurred.
Malgrim,
Malgrim had discovered that there were alley bashers that were working for Tongue Eater in a room, and they were consummating their love. They were bumping uglies, doing some belly slapping.
Malgrim wasn't having any of that.
Because the combination of Theodwin, because at that point, I think Malgrim and Theodwin were pretty cool with each other.
Yeah, and we told you to chill or
And
something
then
like that.
when he died, Malgrim pretty much was like, "Nah, this ain't happening." So when he broke into the room, like you said, they were bumping uglies, and like Malgrim was like, "I have no like." I think he asked him one question: "Were you working for the Last Laugh?" They freaked out because they didn't give him an answer. So he like straight up,
He literally chucked ours and tore their hearts out.
yeah, he literally drove his hand into both of them. Oh no,
It was-
it wasn't
it was
both of them.
more- two
He drove his
things.
hand into the woman and then broke the guy's neck.
Yeah, 2 things that happened. One, they told you to leave or join, You asked them if they were a part of the last laugh. They didn't know what you were doing, so they just continued, thinking that you would leave. The second thing was you hadn't fed. You had contracted vampirism, and you hadn't fed.
Well, I was feeding on like animals, right? But it was like sustaining me less and less.
Like,
as
yeah,
the...
the thing was like you weren't it was driving you to have humanoid blood, and everywhere you would go, you'd have to make these fortitude checks, or you'd start like hearing their palpitating heart.
Yeah,
and you would like Theoden had just died, and you lost it. You lost your shit, and you were just like, Kazalia! And you just tore a fucking heart out. Yeah, and as he's freaking out, you started like sipping on it like it was a Capri Sun.
And that's when he went full on vampirism.
He went full on vampirism.
Yeah.
Oh man.
When they came upstairs, they were like, "What are you doing? Why are you so bloody?" And you chucked an empty heart at them. And they were like, "What do you? Did you just kill someone?"
I dropped the heart on the floor, and then I tossed the potion bandolier over to Kimia, and then like I was telling them like I could smell each of their bloods, and then like I kept saying that Horam smelled like hideous, like he didn't like the smell that he had on him.
Yeah.
And oh man, that was I must say
that was like the sickest fucking fight. Yeah.
That was the
nuts.
sickest session with Xander because he went full on into the role.
All of us literally hated him by the end of the session.
Yeah, by that particular moment,
we had IRL arguments after that.
Knowing that he had turned, they were like, I think it was Fareed at the time was like, "I thought you were our friend," and he was like, "I've been many things."
No, it was Nero.
Yeah. Oh my god, that was so dope.
Yeah.
I thought you were our friend. I was many things. Dude, that was like the sickest fucking line I think I've gotten in this whole game so far.
And you did. You fucking you bolted outside into the courtyard and scaled the building. Fucking.
That's right. It was a fucking rooftop
style.
battle.
It was a rooftop battle.
Raining. We were fucking on the roof.
Yeah.
That was
duking it out.
That's where Horam found out that he's actually an angled Tetris piece.
I learned how to play Tetris that day.
He learned that gravity is. Yeah, he learned gravity is not the friend of a man in plate armor.
And in the end, it turned out that he had to go ahead and just bolt because our summoner was absolutely broken.
Yeah. No, and so was Innie when he slapped him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens. So
Elgin's damage wasn't that strong with that full round. It was getting hit with smite.
That did
pretty
like
much
60
like
damage.
Malcolm was like, nope, yeah, this isn't for me. And then he popped into his wolf form, and then ran away.
He got back to town.
Fuck this shit.
He got back to town after slaughtering some of your horses.
Yeah,
and you guys were so fucking shitty at me. Oh my god, I remember.
Oh god, you guys so salty.
Were unloading on me like, Bob, what the fuck? What the fucking fuck? Oh, I was like, oh my god, here it goes.
Yeah, none of them knew that I was already contemplating any.
Like, so, not only do we have to walk back to town because our horses are dead, he retreats, gets full health again, and he's going to come at us again.
Luckily, we didn't have to walk back to town because as we walked out, we had ran into Desmond.
Yes.
You ran into two people. Yeah.
Casually strolling along, and his horses coming out of his homeworld looking for Cauldron.
Homeworld?
Yeah, no, he was a super planar beast, dude.
He was an alien. I don't think he had it.
I forgot.
He was just this bard, kind of like tripping over to Cauldron.
And we were like, hey,
around looking for books, and we're like, hey, yo, give us a ride.
Meanwhile, dripping blood.
It's like, true. Hey. It's true, Dinlara and Montervant. You guys have missed a great deal. There has been a lot, but that's kind of why we're doing this recap.
We've been doing 100 sessions. There's a lot to cover.
Yeah, there's a lot to cover, but that's why we're doing this, so you guys can kind of catch up on what has happened in the past. But you guys also met another character. It was more than just Desmond.
Oh,
you met a half giant.
Lewis. Yeah, Lewis.
Lewis, the tall flipping giant.
There was when we offered the ride, Desmond looked at us a little weirdly, but I think the thing that really got him to like take us with him was when Theoden's chewed up and gnarled head landed like in his lap from the baboons, if I remember correctly, right? Like, didn't you toss it back or something? And we had to fucking get out of
Innie's legs were broken. You guys were asking for help, and I was like, I can't fucking leave good old Paladin of Sovereign Ray broken ankles. Like, hurry up and hop in. And That's when we took
I'm
off.
like, so I gotta walk back on this. You think you can give me a ride?
I do want to point out. I
Your
do want
legs
to
are wrong
point
way,
out
right? And it's
one
like, oh,
major
yeah.
thing that we probably will never hear from again, but could bite us in the ass eventually, is that mask of doom Theodwin was wearing.
Yeah,
which,
got
by
taken.
the way, on command sends a flaming skull out.
Yeah.
But that mask is currently with a party of baboons in the middle of the forest.
Oh yeah.
Little do we know, the adventuring party of baboons started at that point and will overtake us at some point.
But is that our next campaign?
The Wrath of the
Jesus
Baboon.
Christ.
Oh yeah.
Skip
Speaking
going
of
to
which,
worms.
didn't we also recently just theorize that Tongue Eater might have been a were baboon? He might have been a werebeast.
You guys
There's
were.
a lot we've been theorizing about,
Yeah.
but
Confirmed, more
It
or
was
less.
it was confirmed
Yeah.
that he was a lycanthrope, that he had lycanthropy, and yeah, I mean amidst other things, yes, you had discovered that. It's been weird. It's been weird, but you guys had decided to take Lewis with you. You couldn't really stand his sad story.
We had found him in the middle of the road because he had set out from his giant
he
village.
was setting out to go to a table flipping competition to
get his
profess his love on his
Yeah.
victory, and then to find out
He was going the wrong way.
100 miles in the wrong direction.
Yeah,
It was more than 100 miles. It was like 200 and something
And he
miles.
had
Yeah.
2 days to get there.
yeah.
Yeah. And
it
we
was
were
impossible.
just like, you're not gonna make it, Brody. Let's just get you.
From where he left, had he been walking the right way, he would have gotten there in the few days
Barely,
he
yeah,
needed
like-
to.
Yeah.
Barely
He
would
had
have
been
gotten there
walking
for
the
Sidon.
wrong way the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's at this point that you guys were like, "Oh, this is just too sad."
So we did the best thing and we brought the giant to Cauldron.
Yeah.
Because Cauldron's very accepting of giants, apparently.
And everyone else ever.
Yeah.
Cauldron is excessively accepting of a lot of things. They're okay with more than you might think.
Unless your name is the Flurry
Yeah,
of
we're not
Birds, they're
super
pretty
racist.
okay with it.
Oh, it's just
No,
a
they-
skeleton
I mean-
family.
Yeah,
You
you, have
guys-
to remember, they used to be, Jerrod.
You guys got a lot of odd looks, that's for sure. But they didn't just like damn you out and the company that you might have had. They certainly allowed you guys into town. More than anything, you guys brought him along because his feet were like raw and bleeding from
That's right. That's
from
right.
walking so long. Does somebody have all this written down? No, we don't. We don't have this written down.
No, that would be intelligent of us.
Yeah,
This
This
is-
is the power of the collective memory.
That's right. This is memory here it's going to be serving us. But inevitably, you guys got back to town because you had found out that somebody else had the wands.
Yeah, a guy by the name of Malgrim took him from us. It was
Yeah.
no idea
Yeah.
who he was, but we were sure to soon find out who this guy was.
So wait,
Completely
so
unrelated.
Malgrim had the wands the entire time?
No.
No.
Not the entire time.
It was. It had to have been the Stonehavens, correct? Because they were the ones that
Mhm.
gave him the rest of the wands, and they fucking. he
Actually-
bolted.
Well,
You guys
Malgrim
had found
took-
someone
It
else
was-
had the wands.
Yeah, it was the last laugh, and therefore, Artie.
Artie.
Well-
yeah, there was Artis, which that's
And
currently
Malgrim.
the body that Klaus is occupying.
And Malcolm got him from him.
Artis got them, and he thought that they were hot. He was like, "No way am I keeping these."
And
this is-
sold them immediately.
That's right. This is way too
Yep.
much of a threat. And no, he didn't sell them. He fucking got rid of them. He gave them to the village idiot, Artie.
And while we went hunting for Artie, the flood was coming in full season. I mean,
That's the thing. Why was it so much of a prescient threat to get these? There was something
Because
that was
if-
going on.
If we didn't, the rain would have literally flooded the entire lower half of Cauldron.
That's really
Yeah.
not that much of a problem.
yeah,
There's
like-
also the giant
big
kraken.
problem was the fact that when we went to see Artie, he got cut in half by a tentacle with razors on it.
I mean, that didn't help.
It was a tentacle.
So
Well,
Yeah.
well,
Not only-
I
not only
feel
was
like
the town
it's necessary
flooding-
to point out, I feel like it's necessary to point out that because of the rains, Cauldron was flooding. There were going to be deaths because there was no outlet for all this water. It was going to fill this
Because
volcano.
Yes.
once again, town in a
When
volcano.
we went to find Artie, we found out that Artie had actually given the wands away to, a really
Unreliable
weird,
source.
creepy dude who sounded a lot like this. Who sounded a lot like this bastard that we all hated at that point.
Right.
And while we were speaking with Artie, something happened. Something was let loose in the crater lake, and that's when we ended up finding the cephalopod that cut Artie in half.
Yeah.
Well, once we figured out, oh, this is way too much, we ran away and we immediately went to try and find our way down.
Yeah.
And of course, the first thing we do is we went to the bathhouse.
That's right. But you guys, you got to remember something. This is something that wasn't really widely discussed either. If you recall, it was raining. It wasn't just normal rain. It was raining black.
Yeah.
Do we still recall why? Like, do you guys have any idea why it was raining black?
They saw a cauldron and they wanted to paint black.
It was due to some. It was due to this evil monster, I believe. It was some kind of like summoning.
It was stemming from the monster of Crater Lake. I just know it was uncontrolled, so that's why we saw the black.
The monster was there the entire time, and then it just became free and started summoning, or?
I'm not sure if it was summoned in Crater Lake, or
if it was trying to summon.
There was lore about it. It's the creature of Crater Lake. It's been there, discussed before.
But, I mean, probably with the wands, it was more or less uncontrolled, so that's why I guess more or less.
Let's discuss that timeline.
Okay.
You're in the middle of a quest to find wands of control water.
Correct.
You hear that it's going to be the worst year recorded. That it's going to flood and fill the bowl itself.
Mm-hmm.
Then out of nowhere, it starts raining black. And then the creature emerges.
So,
yeah, that's
possibly something, summoning from the water plane then? Really dark, evil portion of the water plane?
You think that it was something that was summoning from the water plane? I mean, there have been all kinds of creatures that have been summoned in town.
Or some sort of form of the abyss.
If you recall, I can think of specifically an Umber Hulk, a Breath Drinker.
So what is it? Is it the basalt? Was it infecting the water supply as it rained down?
Is the basalt the same color? Is it that blackish color?
It's a black color, yeah.
Yeah, it's a black color.
Shit. So then, yeah, he got summoned. Brody got summoned into Crater Lake then.
Now, if only I still had a character that had knowledge planes that could have possibly figured that out. Unfortunately, Nero was just a retard.
You know, that character would have also been really useful.
Compared to Desmond, you were. I'm just kidding.
Desmond had his own cross to bear. There was a lot of skeletons in that closet still. But pushing past this...
But regardless, we were tasked to go to the bathhouse because Malgrim had left a note with Artie.
As an open challenge.
Basically a 1v1 me IRL.
Yeah.
And went there and it wasn't a 1v1, it was like a 3v6.
Yeah, because we found out that Malgrim decided, you know what, one vampire in town isn't enough.
So
we
he got
get
Stonehavens. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a fight of fights.
He got Stonehaven and he got Alakir.
I mean, it was more than just a Stonehaven. It was both of the Stonehaven brothers.
Okay, so it was
and Starbrow. Starbrow was also enthralled.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
Luckily,
you guys almost fucking killed him. And I was like, why are you guys attacking the rat? Leave him alone. he cast on someone. He cast
I do remember that.
On
No.
Elgin. Wait. He cast charm person or animal. He stopped someone from moving. I know that.
See, all I remember was punching Alakir, and then having Dan immediately run his spear through his midsection and pinning him to the wall.
Yeah, I don't know who. Yeah, Alakir didn't even have a chance, and he's like long.
It was literally
him, and then
it was literally like raging punches and then spear to the gut as
That's
he
right.
Yeah.
Immediately impaled.
Inevitably, you guys bested Malgrim and the vampire threat as far as you could tell. Meanwhile, you guys were definitely aware.
Like that scares me. Please
do that. I mean, you know that there's more than that because Malgrim had an opportunity, and there was still another vampire in town. he was feasting. If you recall, Malgrim, before he went full vampire, feasted on Camel Joe.
Yep.
Right.
And
Yeah,
then Camel Joe
okay.
became Grimgrin as he stalked through the lower parts of Cauldron eating small children. Or,
No,
well,
small animals. Small animals.
Small animals
And then-
and turning small children.
And then children started going missing. Yeah. That's right. A camel vampire lord was building his own nest.
And I don't think we ever fully explained what Joe the Camel was before he was a vampire, but...
Yeah,
But
it was my
moving
favorite
back.
Yeah,
shenanigans.
yeah. Inevitably,
Moving
after
back.
fighting Malgrim, you guys had discovered that there was a hidden spot in the back of Oryx's office. There was coin. There were faces.
Yeah.
And a necklace of teeth,
A necklace of teeth.
which belonged to Griffith's wife.
And a gemmed hammer.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Let's talk about that for a minute.
We must go deeper.
New favorite weapon.
I'm all the way.
Can we like skip this part, maybe?
Whoa.
Well, no. We can get back to it. We can just say the gemmed hammer was picked up, and we found out that there was a secret entrance somewhere in Cauldron where we could go ahead and go under Crater Lake and take care of this issue and find the wand.
Yeah, you guys were sent to look for Kopru ruins.
Yeah, and while we were in the Kopru ruins, that's when a lot more fucked up shit happened. Like, we found out that our paladin is a very, very bad paladin.
Yeah, he wasn't very good as per what you believed, but he did what he thought was right, and I backed it. I mean, just recapping some of the events, you guys found a demonic lake monster that was guarding a bridge. You went into these ruins that were marked and cabled with various demons.
And then we found a
And
pregnant lady.
We came across the death, we went ahead and came across the death of Nero because he decided, oh yeah, I'm going to be a hero. And turns out Froglocks like the taste of Magi.
Oh,
bit him in
no.
half.
No, I fucking remember this. So, okay. So, this shit could have been avoided. Personally.
That's the best way to start every story.
So, for those of you watching, Theodoin, listening problems.
Wasn't Theodoin. Was not Theodoin. It was
no, Elgin.
Elgin Pugh. Elgin
Sorry.
Pugh, yeah.
So Elgin having listening problems. Dan having listening problems. I was like, hey guys, there's a slot over here. Kick the fuck back. Let me see what's wrong with them. Turns out that he's missing, I think the lower portion of his jaw, right? Like he couldn't talk, something like that.
Yeah.
Actually. So
yeah, he was being tortured down there.
Yeah. So, as Desmond, I'm trying to talk to him, trying to do everything that I can to see if he's okay, if he wants to travel with us to see if we can help him. And he's being really defensive, but he's not doing anything to attack us.
Now, do you know quirk? There was a quirk going on at the time.
Mhm.
Fireball!
There were a lot of things going on.
Again, thank you very much, chat.
So, but even for this, no. So even for this, I'm still trying to talk to him, and out of nowhere, Elgin tries to attack him, and I believe misses.
He literally threw a fireball at his face.
Yeah. And
No, he tried to go ahead and do something.
Was it like grease, like an oil lantern or something like that? He tried to attack him.
Was it the fireball necklace and he pulled off one of the fireballs? Isn't that what happened?
No, I think he wanted to go ahead and do Ghost Hand, and
Yeah.
And here's the funny part, because of the quirk, he had wild magic, but he was certain that he could explain why he was doing these things.
Yeah. Even though I told
some weird shit.
So essentially, I was like, "Don't do anything. Don't attack. Don't let me talk to him." And he went on and cast something anyway. The green slot got scared and decided to defend itself by summoning a blue slot.
Mm-hmm.
The blue slot comes out and literally,
He was much bigger.
He shook hands everybody.
Much bigger, not missing his lower jaw.
Shook
doing a lot
hands.
better.
I think the only thing he didn't attack me because I wasn't attacking anyone else. But
And me and Horam weren't there because we were busy birthing a child.
that's right. So
Yeah, that was fun.
Nero ends up dying.
Mhm.
And Desmond almost dies because the blue slot falls on top of him.
And that's when we come across the mighty hero.
Because
Jerrod Skellerang.
Out of the portal stepped Jerrod because he had been in the fucking the Slod world because he had fallen down a portal in a hunting mission before.
Oh yeah.
He used to be the eldest son of the guard captain at the time of Cauldron. He was shaping up to be the next commander-in-chief of the guard, and then
went on expedition and disappeared. Yep.
Literally disappeared for 30 years.
Yeah, so it turns out that there are now 2 Skellerings. Yeah. And none of them, and the party doesn't like any of them. So,
well, okay, all right. So they like Tercion. Let's be real.
But yeah, Tercion. But yeah, there was a new Skellering. Jerrod comes out. He finds the party, and he's like, "Oh, finally, I'm home." And of course, he's like, "Where are we? Where am I?" Door appears in front of him. Oh, we're in Cauldron.
Yeah, we're in Cauldron. That's right. I forgot about that. You were like, friend of Jim. That's right.
Where am I? Door. Oh, we're in Cauldron.
Home.
I'm home.
Sweet home. It's perfect.
But yes, that's the introduction of Jerrod Skellerang.
That's right.
And as we move through, we find out that he's actually really good at killing party members.
We also learned that he really hates spiders.
I feel like there's something there's something else that had happened as well, particularly to Elgin and Innie.
Yes.
Innie, you got a tail.
Oh. I wanted to keep it.
I didn't let him keep it.
You had a tail. This is where I think it was you also almost died to drowning.
I don't know what I don't think.
No, that was after the tail.
That part didn't happen. I firmly remember him not dying.
Did die, but he was saved.
Waters of Healing. Waters of Healing almost killed him because he drowned.
So okay, I'll go into it. Wild magic was shot at me to help me jump because I had to make it across a large gap.
Yeah.
Once again, plate mail.
A heavy man in full plate is not a very nimble fella.
Sure. Yeah.
And so they casted wild magic on me, and poof! I had a tail that was about 2.5 to 3 feet long.
And
I was like,
broken.
Man, this is real neat. I don't know how, but I guess it helps me jump. That's what I'm being told. And so
he jumped and degloved it.
And I went
the degloving. That's right.
And I went down real quick.
He jumped, failed the jump, landed on the tail.
And because
I
broke in a certain fashion, it degloved itself.
And then his first idea was to try and splint it
back on.
Yeah.
That didn't go well. It was a bad time for me.
And so he decided, hey, we're gonna go run back to that healing well. I was like, hey, I'll come with you as Kimia, being friendly. We had gotten to the healing well, and I said, hey man, turn around. And then I pulled out.
Put it back on, and then you can go in the pool. And,
I pulled out Sakata's scythe that I had on me.
And just kind of casually cut the damn tail off.
Yeah, he just ripped my tail.
Yeah, just real quick,
shoved him in after cutting that tail off.
Yeah.
Well, it would heal. And then he had plate armor. And once again, gravity plus plate equals bad.
No fun.
Even with water.
Right. This was all Innie's fault that he managed to fall face first.
Apparently, yeah, that's how it went. It was my fault that I had my tail cut off and then had a foot planted in my back into a pool of water.
Didn't you pass out because of that? Like
no, he died.
I drowned.
Died.
And died.
And then he came back up. I ran and got Klaus, and he literally brought him back to life. With his electricity.
I was a human defibrillator.
Turns out being a lifeguard in real life translates to D&D experience.
And it turns out
defibrillator and poof, I was back alive again.
And it turns out that Horam's faith was shook real bad.
My God, real bad. Yeah, we didn't. I didn't bring you back, and fuck you. So we'll see what happens next year.
So not only did our paladin birth a demon child and keep it, He
you,
also
you
before
state
that.
that real weird every single time.
Before
like it
before
came
that,
out of me. I didn't birth a demon child.
He
I didn't
delivered.
give birth to a child.
He
I
delivered.
delivered the child.
what was
I'm gonna clarify. It didn't come out of me. It wasn't my real child. I adopted a child whom
the wizard that
I
was down
delivered.
there? What was his name?
We're getting to that.
He's getting there. Yeah, we're almost there.
But no, not only that, he delivers this demon child and then promptly loses all faith in Saren Ray. We now have a paladin that is no longer a paladin.
See,
But
you
everything
said I
is
lost
all great
faith.
and good. The party is all finally together.
It was the other
Let's
way
see.
around.
Elgin lost an arm. Well, it was just kind of floppishly there at that point. And yeah, we decided we were going to go ahead and press on.
Yes.
And after finding out that Jerrod really doesn't like spiders, we move into a spider cavern. That was great.
No, because Elgin was gone before then.
Was Elgin dead
Yes,
from the slime?
yes. Okay, so this is what happened. No, so after we cleared the room, we ended up fighting a primal air elemental. We ended up killing it and finding out that the room belonged to Skaven Umbermead.
That's correct. Wow, I'm surprised you remember that.
Umbermead's familiar was in there.
It was a cat.
Watching for his stuff. As Desmond and the group go in, Klaus goes into the back room and he opens up a book that contains a spell of Cepheus Snake Sigil. So he only had a couple. He had a couple of days before he was gonna get into like nothingness.
Yeah, and we're getting all this info from the familiar when
no, not even that. Elgin then goes, "Oh, why is there a cat here? Let's kill it." Desmond turns around, telling him, "No, don't do that.
Right.
It's not smart.
Right. You shouldn't kill it.
Typically, anyone who has arcane control of anything like this is probably going to have it trapped. Don't do something stupid." And as soon as Klaus calls for Desmond and Nero at the time, I'm sorry, Jerrod, we go into the back room, and as I turn around, I see Elgin swinging down with a warhammer.
Yep.
To kill the familiar, but the familiar, as he's about to die, sticks out his tongue and reveals that he has a rune that triggers Circle of Death, and Elgin ends up getting the same effect that he placed on the cat, which he just like splatters out and dies.
He gets flattened.
Yep.
Yeah.
And blood everywhere. Oh my god.
It's like instant pancake mix.
It was after that we went into the spider caverns and we met Skaven, and I tried to reason with him, saying like, "We're sorry about your familiar. That technically wasn't all of us. That was him." But he was so grief-stricken about losing his familiar that he was going to kill us anyway. We ended up fighting him and the giant bone spider.
And it turns out fighters don't have great will saves, so yeah, you ended up fighting Jerrod too.
Yeah. The fight wasn't. You ended up breaking free of it, though, didn't you?
Yeah. After I decided to go ahead and kill Rasasi.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I ended up almost killing half the party.
No, you killed Kimia.
Or
No.
Kimia. Yeah, I killed Kimia.
No.
I had almost killed Klaus.
Kimia
No.
died to the spider.
No, I'm pretty
yeah.
sure I cut you in half.
No, Kimia was.
He was harpooned.
Kimia,
right.
Kimia was literally grabbed by the harpoon spider.
Kimia
dragged
was
out.
harpooned, yanked in, and Jerrod turned around.
And
At
you
that
killed-
point-
Rasasi. Good sir.
Well, no,
Which
I
is
killed
why-
Rasasi
which is-
later.
Which is why the
I
guard
killed
hates.
two of your characters.
I know.
Yeah,
He did.
Yeah, the first one was
Yes.
Kimia, though.
Yes.
But yeah, I ended up one-shotting Kimia after he was dragged in by an anchor hook. And, after that, promptly killed the spider.
Right.
Thank God he
While
had
this
the
was
right
all
order.
going on, Klaus had something cast on him that went poorly.
He was a polymorph.
Yeah, what'd you
They,
turn
they
into
turned-
again?
Little white rabbit.
Little white rabbit. That's right.
That's right.
And I
Little white
went
rabbit.
batshit and fucking.
He went nuts. He fucking went insane. He couldn't cast spells anymore, so he proceeded to attack anything and everything that looked soft and fragile.
And
on
ended up
face
doing
and
more
into
damage than
his
normal.
cheek.
Yeah.
Literally dug my teeth into his cheek and just held on for dear life.
I mean, you got worse when you became a turtle.
It's true. I
But
did.
regardless-
You started going for the under bits, those tender spots.
Yeah.
So, with the wands found, we return to the surface. Cauldron is saved. We have a bunny. You know, we're short 3 party members at that point. We've come back with our sorcerer turned into a bunny. A paladin that is no longer a paladin.
Yep.
And I think around that time we found out that our bard was, accused of murder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Desmond had to leave. Desmond
Really
had to
fast.
leave the group.
Yeah, really fast.
How did you find out? How did you find this out? Someone found this out particularly in the group.
Charlie.
That's right.
Charlie told us.
Charlie Miles.
Yeah. But, when we get back to the surface, we, of course, look to our friends at that point to see if we can't fix the situation.
Mhm.
Horam, just, there was no helping it. He had to go ahead and talk with Sarah and Ray. But Klaus, we
Yeah, that
thought
comes
we could
later.
help. We found out that Klaus, we might be able to go ahead and, release his soul from the bunny. I'm trying to remember the
Tertian.
locksmith. Tertian. Or,
Yeah,
no, the
it was
locksmith.
Keegan Gelf.
Yeah.
Keegan Gelf. I think he's the one that went ahead and started that. How'd that end up, Klaus?
Well, you see, I went from being in a rabbit's body with the sepia snake sigil on me to being in a half-giant's body with...
Right.
That's right. Didn't you push an old lady?
No.
I explicitly
Hang on.
remember you in half-giant form
Hold
shoving
the
the
fuck up.
shit out of an old lady. Yeah.
But back this fucker up.
Yeah, there was some stuff that happened.
He has
I
to
was-
justify the pushing of the old ladies real quick.
I was striding through the town because
Uh-huh.
I had a job to do, okay?
Okay. Yeah.
This old lady,
Uh-huh.
as I passed by her without touching her,
Mhm.
didn't come in contact with her in any way.
Mhm.
She just doesn't. She doesn't like half giants, you know, because Cauldron's really racist.
Yeah.
I found that out.
Okay.
So
Figure
what
out
she
it's like
does
to be in
is
minority shoes.
she reaches into her. It was either her bag or her cloak. I don't remember which. But she pulls something out. I don't know if it was a letter opener. I don't know what it was. But she stabs me in the calf with whatever this thing was.
Yes.
So I turned. And
I think she spit on you first. Didn't
Yeah,
she?
she
spit
did.
on me. I then either picked her up or just held her and was like, "What did you just do? Excuse me? What was that?" And then she stabbed me.
Yeah, she stabbed you.
And then I flicked her on the head.
Yeah, almost
knocked
killing her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Kiana showed
The
up
amount of
and,
G's that your finger
Yeah,
finger put to her neck were ridiculous.
Yeah,
It was
but
like
that's when
412
Kiana shows
Gs.
up.
Kiana
That's
showed up
when
and
we are introduced to Kiana, and we find out, well, it's time to go ahead and have Jerrod meet his younger brother.
Yeah, I
and
mean,
he immediately hated you.
it was one of those things where Klaus almost turned the old woman into a Pez dispenser. As he was attempting to make a point. Kiana, finding out that there was something wrong, pulls him aside, like, we'll deal with this later. Take Mrs. Harrison to get help. And a back brace, and a neck brace, and a tree for a brace.
And then she turns to him and says, "You know, she's old, right?"
Yeah.
And Klaus is just like, "Yeah."
She's racist too.
Yeah.
And she's like, you can't just go and like clobber
You
old
can't
people.
do
around here."
that. But no, we end up going ahead and we have a touching moment where Jerrod ends up meeting his brother again after
Yeah.
a long time apart.
It was.
That went well. That went real well. But
Yeah.
that's also how we ended up with another party member, Rasasi.
You guys did
Yep.
skip a big fight. This was one of my favorite fights in the game,
Yeah, the
actually.
Battle of St. Cuthbert.
No.
The giant mechanical worm.
No.
Oh,
You guys missed
no.
that too, but
Yeah,
this was
we missed that part. That was a long time
Are
ago.
This
we
was-
talking about the T-Rex?
the T-Rex.
No,
Yeah.
we haven't gotten to that yet.
Yeah, we have. That
No,
was
because we had
We passed
Risasi.
it.
We're at the point
we
where we
didn't get there yet.
are picking up
Risasi
Risasi.
fought with it.
We couldn't
Okay, yeah,
hold-
no, we went back down there,
Oh,
right?
that's
went
right.
back.
I went back down there as a half giant.
Mhm.
Now I
we would have
recall.
gone over it, but we haven't yet.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So basically, they got to the giant, and Tercion was, I don't trust any of you guys. I'm giving you my best man. I swear to God, if anything happens, I will hate you.
Right.
And then,
Best man dies.
And then we can.
following that, we go down to the dungeon to retrieve what we needed for Will to remove the Serpia sigil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fought a giant bone T-Rex with a cleric riding on top of it.
I forgot her name too, but I know like right before your arrow went through her fucking eye, she
Yeah.
said, "I surrender," and you're
Yeah,
like,
she was basically on her knees about to surrender as I was shooting an arrow, and as I notched the arrow and let it go, she basically said, "I surrender,"
"That's right."
Yeah.
and then
It was Lady
That-
Triel.
And then
Yeah,
I was like,
Triel,
wait, no, I didn't
there
hear
you
that.
go.
I didn't hear that, and I just walked away.
Actually, I think this is why we still had the bard there, wasn't it?
Mhm.
Yes, I was still Desmond.
And then we progressed through the dungeon, and we actually ran into Spawn of Kias, who then proceeded to give us his gift by puking worms into us, which affected me and Jerrod. But Jerrod had a spider friend that just so happened to eat all of the worms infecting him.
Yeah.
So he did not get infected. So I
Thank
came
you,
back.
Teak.
I got to come back to the guard
Mhm.
and tell Tercion, hey, on my first mission report, I'm gonna die!
Yeah.
Great!
That's your
They
fault.
didn't kill me, but I'm about to die.
I'll die in about 3 days. Give it some time.
Something that was missed a while back, this was while Dan was actually still playing, was the bedding of the maiden of Fleet Street
Yeah.
Orphanage.
No.
I really didn't want to
Did we really need to go back to the
thought about
spooky
bringing
day?
that up back when we talked about the orphanage, because it was the owner of the orphanage that he digged down.
Oh,
But I did want to kind of just glance over that detail
Yeah.
because it was.
See, it's important.
Spooky Day
It's
comes
important
back.
to remember that detail because the same woman actually mated with another
Rasasi.
dear friend
Yeah,
of ours,
she turns out to
Rasasi.
be a walking STD factory.
Yeah,
I mean, it was like a really long time ago. No one really knew.
I mean,
Well,
she's
yeah.
got the cursed cooch.
We were young and
Here.
adventurous.
to be fair, I
and
was.
silly.
Wait, were we talking about when it happened to Dan or when it happened to Rasasi?
Rasasi.
Both.
Yeah.
Let's go with both.
When
And-
it happened to Dan, he got the spooky dick because he stuck his head out the window
Yeah.
and was like, "Hey, lady, do you
Yeah.
want this dick?" And she's
So
like,
this specific
"Yeah!"
session. This specific session.
That's
he
ghostly
was
Richard
quirked.
to you.
He was quirked with having to do what a specific deity asked of him, and the deity was Twitch Chat. And
And
Twitch Chat announced that he was going to copulate with the oldest woman that he could find. And so
Well,
he
no,
stuck
no,
his head
the
out
first
window.
woman he
yeah,
could
it was
find.
the first
No,
one he
it was
found.
the oldest.
No, the first.
I remember
and he
being
sticks his
first
head out, and this
saw her.
old lady is leading the children through the streets of Cauldron
What
Yeah.
did
with
he
his
see?
gimp and everything, and he's just like, "Want to put some more pep in your step?"
he actually fixed her. He
Yeah,
fixed what ails
he
her.
gave-
Yeah.
Her back was better, and she no longer had the ghost following her.
After that
Now-
initial dicking, he actually broke the bone spur on her hip that was causing her to have clubfoot because she drug it so hard. Yeah, it was a little wild. He actually he put some years back in her life, and
But
Well, he-
at the cost
he
of his
got
own dick becoming spooky.
Let's just say there were skeletons in her closet.
the reason that
It's really-
the reason that I say this is important is because Rasasi inevitably caught an STD. He got pubic lice,
Yeah.
and these
That,
pubic lice, where he had open wounds, had given him lycanthropy. This lycanthropy turned out to be wereshark.
Were shark.
Yeah, it was Wereshark. I will say this: it was less consensual on my part.
Yeah.
than it was.
Right,
you were-
totally.
I had come back.
He was
and
drugged.
taken a potion.
He
I
was-
came
Very much
He
drugged.
was very drugged. Yeah,
to deal with these Kias worms that were eating my flesh.
yeah.
I had gone to my back alley friend Connor, the owner of
We
apothecary.
Yeah.
We apothecary what you need.
Yes,
Yeah,
and he
there you
had given me this. He went to the back room, convened with the Dark Forces, also known as what we assume is the Last Laugh.
No. You guys know what it is.
It was the Last
We
Laugh.
do
No.
now.
No, it was his demon.
It
that
was
he
the
kept in
demon.
basement.
Right. Yeah.
The fucking demon that he kept.
Yeah.
His basement.
Yeah, so he got me a potion. I had taken the potion, went back to the guardhouse, told Tercion, I hate everything. These people suck. I will tell you more in the morning.
Too bad he never makes it till morning.
Yeah, and then I went to the guard room, literally laid on the bed, and as I laid on the bed, goblins started invading the city, called all of the guards out of the guardhouse. This old lady snuck into the guardhouse, had taken off all of my clothes, and had
raped you.
healed me.
Raped you. She raped you.
That can be a bit of a trigger word. We say took advantage of.
We say just like buried that bone.
I call
Yeah.
it rape.
Yeah,
Took it on home.
she
It runs a
sheathed
grain.
my sword, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like my tail?
Well, while that was
Not,
happening,
not quite.
while
That's
that
right.
was happening,
Then
we
the
had
battle.
to go ahead and fend off an assault on the Church of Saren Ray. We ended up running through the streets and basically just like clearing out this invasion.
It was a lot. It was a lot of goblins. It wasn't just a
Yeah.
few. It was.
It was a crap ton.
It was over
of
100 goblins were
It was a
waging war.
horde.
Yeah. And yeah, because was it
They went outside
remember-
St. Cuthbert and
Yeah.
had fun with Innie and some statues.
I remember when I was heading
Yeah.
back and
I
that's when I
figured
heard
out
the
the catch.
Yeah, Minnie was
Yeah.
at the door defending the door.
All three of them
going-
at the time.
Catching gargoyles with his face.
Yeah, no, yeah. Apparently, it's hard to wade through a crowd of goblins.
Jerrod and the guard ended up showing up at the same time, and I'm trying to remember if we got anything from that.
all I know is
Hurt.
we
That was
had some
about it.
guards. We had some guards with us, and
We got to
not
see
really.
Tercion fight. That's what happened. Because Tercion came out and bare-knuckled brawled the goblins while Innie was once again playing catch.
Yeah, that's right. Because I remember Desmond was like, "For Cauldron," and then he fucking charged in, and had smoke armor on like fucking 2 or 3 of the guards, and we ended up just wrecking shit.
That's right. This.
And then he yelled, "Grilled cheese every day."
That's right.
And we ended up winning.
You guys had to. Let's see. Was that the end of flood season? I feel like it wasn't.
Yeah, that was the
yes.
end of flood season. Because
Yeah.
I
Because
remember,
we'd come back with the wands.
and I remember after this, after everything was all said and done. No, at the time, I remember why I went ahead and fought those goblins without armor, because once we had actually left, with Rasasi and everything, we got up topside. We went to the tip tanker to go ahead and celebrate our victory.
You took a bath.
Wouldn't you know it? Somebody had a bag that was just like eating everything.
Oh, we also got in trouble during the flood season because
I mean, we always get in trouble.
the bodies flooded. The bodies flooded out of the out of Jackdar's way, and all the bodies in the outhouse burst open through the door
and literally flooded into the streets.
Yeah, I remember.
There was
that
a few. There was more than 1 or 2 bodies in there. To be fair, not all of them were us.
Oh,
No,
there's some
no,
that
a lot
were
of-
us.
A lot of them were from the Stonehavens, but
And
no.
Malcolm,
At this
so
point, as memory serves, that's when.
we decided to go deeper.
No, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, we went to go ahead and investigate the Clockwork Citadel because it's one of those things that we've been putting on the back burner.
Yeah.
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 This
Oh,
this
man.
was our,
Well, that's when
This was our
Malcolm was
second
still
time.
alive. Yeah,
This
that
was
was
our-
when
yes.
Malcolm was still alive because I remember
The
Bubs
first
was
time-
like, "You need a nat 1 in order to fall off," and I was like, "I'm never gonna."
well, no, the
No,
yeah,
no,
the
no,
No,
first-
no,
no,
it wasn't
we're-
Malgrim.
We're
It
talking
wasn't
about
Malcolm.
Desmond. Because
No,
Desmond. Because
was.
Desmond, somebody picked up a hammer that
Yeah.
had a gem inside.
Yes.
No,
yes.
but
time we
the
went down,
first,
yeah.
the first time we went down there, but we got to the front door,
Yep.
and then the giant worm started tunneling through the floor.
Right.
Yeah, that was the
And then
first
we
time
had
we went
to
through.
dip set back up,
Yeah.
and Malgrim was rolling plus 20 on his acrobatics checks
Yeah,
to literally ride the fucker.
yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
true.
that's one thing we just kind of overlooked, glazed over, because, well, let's be honest,
The
it's
giant
not one of our
mechanical
finer
it was,
moments.
it was an
No.
Alaskan pipeline worm.
When
It was terrifying.
it was an Alaskan bullworm. No. That's when
Plastic pipeline
Theodwin
worm is a little
also.
different.
I remember that was also when Theodwin also realized that you can't assassinate a clockwork creature. I'm gonna sit here for 5 rounds.
Turns
Not
out
gonna
their vitals
kill
are a
his
lot harder
life
to fight.
force.
But anyways, at this point, we were going down to
For the second time, we had
Citadel.
Yep.
For the second time. And, well, it turns out that one of our party was holding a hammer, and the hammer started talking.
and told him to go deeper.
In case you're wondering who it was.
Yeah, just so he just had to go deeper, just a little bit. Once we got a little bit deeper, the hammer just said, "Come on, Mitch, little bit deeper," and that turned into that turned really sour really fast when we started slapping the floor and we started collapsing downwards.
Okay, he wasn't slapping the floor. He was taking the hammer and full on.
He was fucking dropping the bass.
like chain gang style, breaking the rocks.
I became
Overhead.
Lucio for a little bit. I was like, let's drop the beat. Boom. And then we almost fucking died.
But then what happened to the hammer, Klaus?
Yeah. Shocker,
Yeah.
man.
Well, you see, what happened first was the floor broke out from under us,
Uh-huh.
and I saved all of your asses.
Yeah, you literally flew.
Every one of them.
He
I
did.
think, honestly, Wild
Sniper
Magic
tried
actually
jumping.
saved- Wild Magic actually saved Horam that night.
That's when after you broke the floor, there were 6 flying imps that were casting laser beams at us.
They were homunculus,
Yeah.
like they were little
Yeah, the
homunculuses.
I had jumped down and started falling. You had caught me, but before you had caught me, Sniper literally jumped off the safe spot where he was.
Yeah.
He was
Every time.
fine.
Might have had a
Jumped off.
minor oversight as far as like what my acrobatics was going to be.
And then you realize, what do you do after the jump?
Fall swiftly. But I was going to take one of them with me. I was like, okay, I'm falling, but I got my sword.
Yeah, take a construct with you. That's how you do it. That's noble.
After Klaus
So-
decides to save all of us,
Look, 1 out of 8, it's basically good.
what
I
does he
saved
do?
All of them.
It's true. Klaus had a shining moment. He literally saved everyone's ass.
As
And
you
then-
were lifting me, I was shooing
And
them.
then-
it worked.
Yeah.
Klaus
And
quite literally doomed everyone.
Dude, the entire world.
He for every 10 good steps that he
Okay,
takes, he
look.
took 10 really hard steps back.
Look,
he's like,
let me
he's like
present the
why?
situation to you all. All right, a hammer with a red gem in it starts spinning midair. This hammer that was literally moments ago telling our friend to break the floor and kill us all. Starts
No.
spinning.
You're misunderstanding. He said go deeper. That was it. He just get to the bottom of the dungeon. You guys were like, no.
Okay, he broke the
I was like, okay,
floor,
I guess.
found out there's a giant pit underneath us, and we all
Yeah.
started the process of dying.
Oh, and there's something in that pit. You guys never found out what it was, but there's something definitely in that
heard
pit.
it.
No,
It was
that's
something very
that's
loud
something else
growling
we
at
have
us.
to take care of.
So this hammer that told him we must go deeper, break the floor, send all your allies into this pit where I can eat them, presumably. This hammer starts spinning, like
In the
lays
center of the
flat,
room.
starts spinning in the middle of the room. The gem starts glowing, and I, in my infinite wisdom, decide this is probably a bad thing. Let me cast True Strike on myself and crit with my chakram.
Didn't you
crit.
double
It was-
crit?
yeah,
You
it was
double
a double
crit.
crit.
I
Yeah.
double crit on a True Strike with
And
the
it was like,
chakram.
yeah, it was like 60, 70
So-
something damage.
As-
On a cold shot.
As the hammer, yeah, on a cold shot on the gem. So as the hammer is spinning in the middle of this room, the chakram flies over to it, basically stops directly above the gem, homes in on it, starts
And-
spinning like a saw blade, and cuts it straight in half.
Yep.
And then the end of the world starts.
And then we met
What'd
Embarda.
you set loose? Come on, man. What'd you set loose?
He said
And-
Embarda the bunny
And
out.
then I made a great friend. I met Embarda, the Doom Dracolich. His name literally translates to Doom. He's been trapped in that gym for longer than anyone could really remember
You
other than
set
him.
loose one of the great evils that will end the
The
world.
Stonehavens.
So-
The Stonehavens
Okay.
were the ones that captured him in the gym many years ago.
Yeah.
I broke the
Those-
gym, not knowing it was a phylactery or prison or whatever you want to call it. So then Ambarda offered to me, "Hey, thanks for setting me free. You ever need my help? Why don't you just call, and I'll take care of it." I was like, "All right, good to know."
It's
Can't
always
stop you
good to
right
know
now,
that
so-
the Draco Lich owes you a favor.
Well, if for everyone keeping track at this point, that's 2 great evils unleashed upon the world that we have. We're friends with them, so that's
Yep.
cool.
Oh no, and it gets worse. There's more to come. But anyways,
Keep your
no,
tabs
after
ready.
all this happens, we get back into town. And I'm trying to remember, at this point, we found a dragon's tear.
The Tear
This
of
was
Bahamut.
the first. Yeah, this is the first time that we had a Boehner boon system set.
Yeah, this was
Yeah,
a big
This was a boon.
a big boon actually.
A boon.
a massive boon.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
it's the flurry. We'll fuck it up.
I got paralyzed. I'll let you guys. Oh wait, I'm gonna go into how I got paralyzed because I want to
Yeah,
skip over
yeah.
that part.
Let's do that.
I decided that we were gonna go to see Gigan Gelf because we hadn't talked to him in a while, and we thought might as well stop by.
Yeah, you guys had information to gain regarding the fortress because he'd always tinkered around with shit from that location. He was always interested in it.
And so I'd head over. We head. Well, who headed over there? It was me, and then Klaus was coming up behind, and I think it was just the 2 of us. If
I
can
believe
recall
so.
correctly. And so I was in first, and immediately upon entering, I saw that he was in combat with a giant mechanical Horam bot.
Harambot!
That's right. You guys kept calling
I
it.
forgot about Harambot. How could I
He was-
forget
Clockwork-
about
He was a clockwork
Harambot?
gorilla.
It was
Not Harambot!
Horam bot. And
yes.
so-
At the time, it was relevant. Let's clear that up.
Yeah. This was
This was
around
before the
time.
meme was dead. Thank you.
This was about a year ago, roughly.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah,
and
we're
so-
slowly closing in on the present.
It's getting there for sure.
Don't worry, we only have like another 40 sessions to go.
No.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
It hasn't been that long ago.
Keep going. So
I decided
Yep.
that since he was going to be killed by this thing, it had backed him into the corner since we had walked through the door. I pounced on it. Looking for a vital point, I decided to strike at the core of this creature. And I crit, and I did a lot of damage on this called shot, and I pierced its core, and it blew me away, quite literally. It threw me from one end of the room into the wall on the other side, and I wasn't unconscious, but I was paralyzed. And they had to deal with me from then on. Also,
Yeah,
I should add, after I killed it, a black orb floated out of this creature and came over to me and placed itself into my eye socket,
yeah.
where I did have an eye, but now it's just a black orb where my eye was.
but hey,
I-
it gives you
I know
dark
it's
vision,
realized.
right?
I mean, I already had it. my reason.
So yeah, at this point, as bad as things are, as bad as everything is,
It
a
only gets
light
worse.
shines, a miracle happens. We find ourselves in possession of a Tear of Bahamut. And of
Yes.
course we think, we've got to do something. We have to go ahead and save our party member. But we don't just let it go let's go ahead and make our once paladin Hardy and Hale. We decide to go into the Church of Saren Ray
And force him.
and
back to-
use
God to
our
accept
wish.
Yeah.
Our wish to call down Saren Ray and be like, hey, yo, make him a
Forgive this
paladin again.
Oh,
Yeah.
and let's be clear here. This was not like an instant decision of like, we're gonna say this now and that's the wish is gonna be consumed. This was like an hour of us debating
it took a while.
exactly how to word it, and yet we still came out with this
We
conclusion.
basically, Saren Ray herself came down and said, "What the
No.
fuck do you think you're doing? Do you think you can tell me what to do? Do you really think that?" And we were
then-
like,
Okay, there was less talking and more blowing.
There was more
blowing up.
divine smiting
She
and murdering
AoE
of those
smited
who
the
would-
shit out of us.
Klaus the Giant was a general shithead. It
I-
was
I wasn't a general shithead. She literally appeared and killed me.
Yeah,
She was like-
Desmond
Showed
saw
up and I
Klaus die
died.
and then lunged at Saren Ray.
yeah, that's what it was.
The
You
first
tried
time
to
I ever-
attack her.
I ever fought a god feebly, to no avail, but I went toe to toe with one.
And immediately died.
He jumped at this goddess with what was it? A little
The
It was his
Warhammer.
rapier.
Yeah. Was it the Warhammer? Or was it the rapier? I thought it was the rapier.
No, it was the rapier.
That's at the rapier. Yeah,
Yeah.
I lunged at her.
He tried to poke her in the cheek, basically. With this
Yeah.
thing. It glanced off her
there's
skin,
Jerrod.
and
No,
she
it didn't even hit
struck
her.
him
It didn't
down.
even hit her. Like it was essentially like one of those like anime moments where like the
It
character
goes through and he
stops,
just looked at
and
her and
like,
went,
the rapier's like an inch from her face, and then like you see her her scimitar's like literally impaled into me, and I'm like, "Ugh," and then she like throws me away. She's like, "Nah, back off,
You
Brody."
stop.
All the
stopped
while,
midair for a second.
do remember, here's Jerrod, the man who once was just a regular citizen
Yeah.
of Cauldron, newly
And-
returned, find out that he's 30 years have elapsed for a week of time for him. His brother hates him, nobody remembers him, and he is kneeling in front of this god just being
Oh yeah,
just
no, it was the
praying,
Warhammer.
Don't kill me now, don't kill me now.
Yeah, that's right. It was the Warhammer. I think this happened before we went back into whatchamacallit.
I was just trying to get it in there. But no, what ends up happening, I think Horam does end up getting healed. I think
You're also-
my
you're
no
also
longer paralyzed.
My paralysis was removed.
Yeah, Will is dead.
So,
I'm
But-
also no longer in
Lewis is gone.
Lewis's body.
That
yeah,
body-
Lewis's body is gone.
Wasn't it
Effectively to
vaporized?
the
Oh, no.
entire.
You just
no.
died.
I was like charred to shit.
Yeah, he
but
died.
The body was still there.
But
So
his necklace.
as far as everyone in the party knew, I was dead.
Yep.
Like just dead to rights, gone. Klaus was no more. However, there was a gift from a viewer by the name of Phaelord. This
Right,
was
Fate
a
of the
couple
Phaelord.
sessions beforehand.
Yes.
But he gave me a necklace. I had no idea what it did. When we killed Harambot, I saw a floating thing, sort of like Innie's black orb, a little bit different, flew into the necklace that I was wearing. So then we went to the church. All that happened. I died. The necklace broke. I woke up in a previously flooded basement ruin in Cauldron in the lower row. And I was from then forth. I was Artis, the fence.
Yes, Artis, the fence, who went ahead and set us to Artie, the idiot. But no, I do want to point out, just so people can realize just how much we find this amusing, Klaus, the 15-year-old boy, who was given to Sakata as a slave to be crafted into
I
an
was a
adventure.
farmhand. I was an indentured servant to Sakata, and
Yep.
then I
And
had
he
long since
became
paid off my debt, but
sorcerer?
still stayed with the flurry.
I can
He ended
picture-
up being the leader of the Flurry of Bros. He
Yeah.
ended up becoming a rabbit, then a giant, then dying.
and becoming a
How
fat
many
thief.
bodies have you been through?
Okay, so let's
Klaus-
count backwards
Klaus's
here.
body was turned into a rabbit.
Oh no,
so
no!
it's
We
still-
can't start counting because we still got more to go.
Well, hang on. We can get a running count going, okay? We don't have to make this a
There's
static
more.
thing. I was transformed into a rabbit, so that's technically my original body. Lewis is currently inhabiting it.
Oh, now we're
the
working
sigil
on
has been
practicality.
cleared.
5.
Okay, so the rabbit is my body. That was not a body swap. That was being polymorphed. Then I was switched into Lewis's body because I was a rabbit and couldn't do much. So that's one body swap, right?
Right.
Lewis
Okay.
dies. Lewis's body dies, rather. I'm swapped to Artis, so that's two
body
body
swaps.
swaps currently.
Okay, keep that up and keep
Yes,
up, boys and
I will-
girls. Two
Well,
body
then-
swaps so
two
far.
body swaps.
Then artist.
Well, we're getting
Whoa,
there.
wait!
Let's-
We're following the timeline. So, anyways,
Okay,
yes,
okay.
we
Spoiler
decided to
alert.
go ahead and not only release a Draco Lich and another horror on the
Let's
world.
piss off a god while we're at it.
Let's go ahead and fuck with Saren Ray too. Excellent choice.
She basically said, "Hey, you'll be a paladin under my graces." Or no, she said, "You have to earn back
She
my
doesn't
favor."
She lets him know he has to come back to her favor.
And
so, moving past that, something happens. I cannot remember what prompted you to turn Rusasi into a wereshark.
It was the lice. And then...
No, you were physically wounded or something and started to change.
You had a hunger.
Or wait, no. I remember what it was now.
It was the pig.
Yeah.
I remember what it was now. Actually, this is when we went after Camel Joe.
Well, yeah.
This is when we started going ahead and trying to do good things in the city.
Yeah.
And yeah, we all know how that turns out for us. So no, at this point, we decide we're going to go ahead and take care of Grimgrin. It's been on the back burner. We're going to get it done. And
Desmond left at this point, right?
Yeah, Desmond was gone.
Yeah. Desmond was gone at this time. And I think it was just the four of us.
It was.
Just Klaus, Jerrod, Horam, and Sakata.
Or
wait, no, not Sakata, Rusasi.
Yeah.
Yes, because remember, boys and girls, Sakata's dead. We'll get to that.
Yeah, Sakata's very dead.
But that's when we decide to go ahead and hunt down Grimgrin. We go into the lower quarter. We go ahead and kind of track these weird kids into an alley. And, well, we find out who Grimgrin was.
There are a couple boys in the streets in the back. They're referred to as the Backstreet Boys, but we didn't talk about it.
Mm-hmm. So we found out again that Jerrod doesn't deal well with vampires. Because when we go ahead and finally encounter Grimgrin, which is the turned version of Camel Joe,
Sniper gets immediately charmed within the first round.
And pretty much almost one shot.
Literally turns around and gives Klaus with a...
I was holding my intestines in.
Me and him were both frozen by the leg.
He cut me from here down to here.
Yeah, you had your legs stuck by...
Your belly button was about 3 feet wide when I was done.
Yeah.
I did just want to say, I wanted to break here for just a second to say thank you very much, Fody, for becoming the 76th sub to the Bub Club. Thank you very much, Fody. You've just become a Bubscriber. Welcome on in, fam. We miss you here. We do. We want to see more of your face here as soon as we can. But you gotta be around, brother. You gotta be around. I know that you're working on that early schedule, but we need you. Everyone in the Bub Tub. Holy shit.
We need you more than you know, Fody.
I need about 45. All right.
45.
I'll take the bottom. Let's get that 24 more, guys. But keep going.
All right, let's go 24 hours, 1 per hour. We got this. Friend.
It's not that I like to team kill. Really, I don't. But I have really crappy will saves.
And so,
if I'm faced with a vampire and it's just like, hey, yo, kill your bro, I'm like,
he's
do it.
Yeah, he's not saying he enjoys it, but he's definitely smiling when he hears the word "you've been charmed."
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, this is horrible.
Whatever shall I do? As he
at that point, Horam shines because while he is no longer a paladin at this point,
he slaps.
He does have a holy weapon.
Yeah, I cut the camel in half.
He saves us all.
Didn't care about this camel.
Not before you take me down to 0 HP.
Now, do note. Wait, no. Am I screwing up the timeline again? Because I remember shortly after this. No, at this point, Rusasi was already dead, I think.
No, Rusasi was still alive.
This is where Rusasi died.
What?
But there was the part where you carried me through the city before when I was unconscious because I slammed my head against the brick wall.
That's right, and that's when you bit me.
Yes.
While you were going through wereshark form, and
yes,
that's when Klaus
we
picked you up with a crowd of skeletons and ran to the Church of Saren Ray to heal you, and that's when we found, and that's
that was thanks to wild magic, by the way. That was not. I'm not a necromancer. Yeah. Let's clear that up right now.
I had walked through the butcher shop. I had bought a whole pig.
Yes.
Brought it to a backyard.
Somebody's backyard. It wasn't just like an empty lot. This was literally someone was living here.
And I had been sitting there with the pig on my lap going, man, I'm going to be full for hours. And Klaus
then I
walked up
showed
and
up.
said, "Look, man, you can't eat that pig." And I was like, "But I bought this. I want to eat this pig." And I went to.
Do note, Rasasi is a wereshark at this time. He's starting to feel the urges.
Yeah,
When he
No.
says eat
Coming
this pig,
about.
he means he was
He's
going
looking at this
to
pig and
drain
he's
it
thinking,
of its blood, not chop it up and fry up some bacon.
No, I was going to just eat it whole and just start biting. Like just, oh man, this is one really big wing. Hell yeah. And just, maybe get a little bit of ranch on there. It's good stuff.
Buffalo Wild Wing status.
He had summoned an army of skeletons. They had beaten me to a pulp, knocked me unconscious, and then he carried my corpse through the city. Or, well, not my corpse, my unconscious body through the city, thus prompting Rufus to look at this and say, "You know what? I've
Fuck
had
this
enough
shit,
to
I'm out.
You guys are way too fucked. I'm Audi 5000." Dropped the mic and left Cauldron, and we're still looking for him.
Oh, man.
And then we went to deal with Grimgrin. You attacked Klaus. You attacked me. Camel died. I rose up as a shark.
Because
And
Moonlight.
then
I killed
Yes.
the camel, and then I knocked Sniper below the threshold of sharkedness.
I had bitten you. So you turned into a shark after you had gone to 0. But
No,
when I was
actually, this was just me in that phase of the moon. I just, all of a sudden,
we
started
both
turning.
turned into weresharks. And then I went to go bite Klaus. Klaus, who had managed to somehow keep his guts intact, shocking grasped me and
Very
deleted
hard.
my life bar. And I went from having some HP and being a really cool disco shark to being
To
a very
not.
dead left shark on the floor.
Well, no, I'm pretty sure I'm
You
the
weren't
one
dead.
that ended up...
You were
No.
unconscious.
No, I was dead.
No,
That's
you
when you
weren't
killed-
dead
you
yet.
didn't die
I think
so
I
much
ended up
later.
killing you.
Smoke
Yeah,
says you
no,
died of the
you-
backpack.
Yeah, you killed him when the backpack thing happened. Rasasi didn't die there. He went unconscious, sure, but he didn't die.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of shit happens, stream. Just so you know.
Yeah.
If we're mixing things
To
up, or
follow
skipping
up
events
this
entirely,
whole vampiric camel plus
killed the vampire
shark thing, as soon as I left there, we saw the vampire children scurry away, so they're loose in the town now.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, and then we
There-
found
for
out
some reason-
something else happened.
And then, a long time ago, Klaus was SAS charted because I'm, a shitty person, and
Oh yeah.
and the SAS chart left me with some people following me very angrily.
Some people wanted to kill
One,
you.
one or two people who just
A lot of
didn't
people
like-
want to kill me, and one group in particular was a group of frost giant assassins, a clan of frost giants that all took the trade of assassins, basically a war band. So I step out of this basement. Well, I don't know wherever
Alleyway?
we were.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
No,
ended
it
up
was-
climbing
it was
out of a basement into an alleyway and walking out.
and then I was faced with Boreanaz Coldwalker, who
Another
A
threat.
very, very subtle guy, very hard to find.
he's a frost giant, but he's silent
He's
as a
still an
rogue,
assassin.
and I did not hear him coming.
Yeah, he's a 30-foot frosting giant.
No,
You would think you would hear like the boom.
I don't think he was quite that tall. I don't think I made him that tall. I think
he was like 15 feet, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, he wasn't huge size. He was just large size.
Yeah, so he was like, "Hey, I'm here to collect on the grudge that we've had with you for years." And
You have insulted my
It
family.
was it was for
Basically, yeah.
pissing in the snow, wasn't it?
we never discussed what happened.
Okay,
with that.
we just knew that
I
they
was
were
like,
after-
"That's a story for a later time," which it still is. Let's.
we'll
push that.
cross that when we come to the mimes and the hobos.
So
Yeah,
I feel like this is important to note for everybody that's watching. I'm gonna go ahead and pop this up on the main screen again. It's gonna take away from the cast, or not the casters, but the crew real quick. This is the shirt here. It's the tip tankard. There's a reason that I had the tankard made. This shirt was chosen specifically to commemorate not only the 100th episode, but literally the only place inside of Cauldron
Get the fuck up.
that
still lets us in.
that still lets them in. It's literally
And
the only place they have friends at this point.
I would like to say that that's a large part in due to Sakata's very, very good financing at the very beginning before he died.
I mean, it's more than that. Like, you guys, you were good to his sons. You found out what happened to his wife. You saved the establishment.
Find the wife.
You guys have done a lot. You have done a lot, my friends.
I personally,
Not all of it good, but we've done a lot.
As someone who loves the tip tankard, I cannot wait.
The tankard, I'm gonna try to make this available Friday. So the shirt is gonna be available on Friday if I can make it so. And it's something that I'm trying to work with Acme Prints to make it so. And if not, then it's for certain going to Teespring. I want to get my hands on Designed by Humans, but I don't have an account made for that just yet. But by Friday, this thing will be live. And I'll make sure, Fody, I promise I'll PM you. I'll let you know about it. And you guys will have until the end of the month. The end of the month to get your shirts. It's not going to be super expensive. I'm not looking to make bank here, guys. I just want to I want to get as many shirts sold as possible because, well, I mean, it's like 100 episodes, man, and it's to date my longest running show. So if you guys want to be reminded about it, I think it's going to run up to 5x. I think it's going to run up to 5x, and I will...
Oh boy, I can't wait to order my 6X. Hell yeah.
Shut up, you fucking micro nerd. Get out of here. You're just tall and lanky. Get out. But I'll make sure to let everybody know. Ormus, I'll probably PM you, Fody as well, but I'll let you guys know for sure when I have those up and moving, because my goal is to get like 40 of them sold. If I can get 40 sold...
If you could hold off for like the next week so I could go set up some appointments at my hole, that'd be I'd at least be able to pay for it.
Appointments at your hole?
Yeah, that's actually how it gets paid.
It's down by the turnpike. Yeah,
it's a glory hole.
Look, I meet a lot of people, truckers mostly, but they're well traveled.
He's taking advantage of his lack of facial hair.
Guys, where I come from.
Yeah, look, all they see is from the bottom down, so they don't even know. They enjoy it. I enjoy it. Money. It works. It works.
I am so disappointed in you, Red.
Sniper,
I'm amused, but I'm so disappointed.
This is the alternate timeline, Sniper.
I'm gonna let you guys keep going. I'll be right back. The ladies need me. I'll be right back. So hang tough. Just